Hello and welcome to some Friday Night Collegiate Smite action here on AGL. My name is Anthony Mel. I'm joined tonight by Blaze McBain and Cabbage on production for a matchup that is the semifinals for D1 between UW Cardinal and UCSB. It's a number 2 seed and number 3 seed, Blaze. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
You know, I haven't got to cast Collegiate Smite on a Friday. It's been a nice little change of pace. I've been looking forward to Friday the past 3 days. I woke up yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was Thursday. You know, woke up Wednesday thinking it was Thursday, just waiting for this cast. It's some Friday night lights, man. Football season's over for high school, I think, for most places. Maybe it's like state championships, but it'll be a good time here with some Collegiate Smite. Always a good time. Looking forward to some good games and hopefully some spicy picks.
Hopefully some spicy picks, some Friday night lights, but we can't forget about Saturday, of course, and Sunday, for that matter, especially for AGL, which currently has tons of tournaments going on. First up, are you looking to do something while your dad goes to the store for some milk? Why not participate in the Class Act Duel Tournament and fight your way to first place this Saturday, the 2nd, to give him something to be proud of? Or you could participate in the 5v5 Conquest Tournament on Sunday the 3rd, and you could make him realize he's got something worth coming back home for. Signups and check-ins will be open until 4:50 p.m. the day of the tournament. Make sure to join the AGL Discords to get yourself signed up for them.
You know, shout-outs to April and Nate for their banger ad reads. They're so good.
Absolute bangers.
I can't appreciate them enough when I posted this idea of ad reads a while back, and then they're like, hold on, we got you. And they've just been consistent bangers since. Like every single time. They're fantastic. Gotta love it.
I know, but can't wait for the one later.
Yeah, the one later is really good. It is. Heading into tonight's matchup, are you expecting mage solo laners? Do you think they're going to be hanging around as they've been lately in the meta?
I hope not.
Yeah, me too. But
I'm kind of tired of seeing them. I feel like they have overstayed their welcome, and I love a meta that offers variety. I do love that. But 100%. The problem with the mage solos is they haven't felt entirely like variety. It's felt like, oh, do you want to win or do you want to grief and pick the fun Sun Wukong or whatever it may be?
Yeah, I play carry, and I have like related it to this way because people are like, why aren't you enjoying playing carry? I was like, because there's 4 people on the enemy team that can one tap me. Normally there's like 3, and like someone that could probably do it in like 4 or 5 hits. But now it's like I got 2 mages, an assassin, another carry that's probably building crit to worry about. So we'll see how it pans out here. I'd like to see some warriors. I like to see a little bit longer fights progress, but we'll see how it pans out here. Camazotz being the first one to be banned away here, along with an Alpwash.
I do love the Alpwash. I feel like we've seen Alpwash dominate solo on topic, as well as being great in that mid lane. Just offers so much. Laning phase can't do anything to him. You get late game, nobody can maneuver around Empty the Crypts, and you're just controlling the positioning of every single team fight. It's impossible to deal with. So I love the first ban there. And another thing too, I like seeing overall as a Thanatos does get banned out to go along with that Camazotz, is that I feel like there's a lot of unknowns in Collegiate still. We've had a long season. You're getting used to what people are playing and starting to bring out, but you're still in that unknown of, are they going to play some kind of crazy dive comp and go a bit against the grain, or are they going to go full meta and treat this as if it was an SPL game?
Yeah, it's always interesting because there's been a few I cast where I'm just like, who is going where? Like, yeah. And at the end of it, I'm like, wow, do I need to go try that? And it's pretty sick. I assume between number 2 and number 3, we're probably going to be seeing a little bit more of a meta pick. But seeing this Thanatos be banned away here, and then the Chernobog as well, it's a little bit surprising here. You get rid of those semi-global ultimates, and Thanatos really does well about executing targets down. I mean, I think these are good bans.
And it looks like there was actually a skipped ban as well coming out from Wisconsin. Oh, it was a Mon. That's what it was. So
yeah,
did cover that ban. Definitely a necessary ban to come through from Wisconsin. But the set being open, an interesting first pick. I feel like you're establishing that you're playing for late game right out the gate.
I also feel like it's weird picking set first because he is such a dive-oriented god. Love to play him, but he just needs it. Like, he needs someone to go with him because that's all he does is initiate and just go in on targets and shred them down. Really curious to see how they followed it up here. There's a Ganesh hover. Ganesh picked up here. I think that's a great pick to go with it. On the other side, this Yamoja Raijin comp doesn't give too much away. You know who the support's going to be, but this Raijin is still can float that mid lane, can float to solo. We'll have to see how that pans out here. Heimdallr being the last pickup for before the Phase 2 bans for Wisconsin. I kind of like the Heimdall.
I do too, because I was going to say, to your point, when you lock in set first, you're saying we're playing for late game, we're playing to dive you, and UCSB wisely, they said, okay, well, we're going to play to poke you back and have really good counter initiation. And then Wisconsin, in turn, did the wisest thing possible and said, all right, well, now our backliner is incredibly safe and is going to do an insane amount of damage. And now we have a Ganesh who makes every team fight feel even more possible than the one before, and good luck getting away from the set when you're locked down the way that Ganesh can do.
Yeah, I mean, Ganesh offering so much, right? Like, he offers the initiation where you're going to fight in my square or else. You're going to square up. And then, or your carries are getting chased down. Boom, Dormant Pillars are there, and you get them out. I mean, there's a lot of great uses here. I really, really like this Ganesh pick. And then we finally see, you know, Poseidon getting banned away here. They don't want to have to deal with that Whirlpool into Kraken, I'm assuming. Morgan Le Fay, again, more solo laner, I think, issues than mid in a lot of ways is why you ban these two away. On the other side, Lancelot seeing a ban here, and I'm not surprised. Lancelot is really good. I think he is flexible in a lot of ways, even though he tends to go jungle. But he can be very, very aggravating for anybody in the backline to deal with.
Also a good answer for mage solos.
Yep.
Being able to survive the way that Lancelot can. And like you said, in the beginning, we were curious which route it would go. We see a lot of them, but with all the bans, seems that was on the mind. Now a Jingwei lock-in for UCSB. I feel like we're seeing more and more Jingwei, and every time we're seeing it, I'm seeing the same reactions of, all right, let's see how it does. But then in game, it's still lighting people up the same way Jingwei seems to.
Look, I'll be the first one to say I'm a Jingwei hater. I let me phrase that. I love Jingwei as a god. I just don't think she's great. I mean, she does great in a crit meta, which is what we have now, so she's gonna do fine. But sometimes I'm playing her and like in lane, like the first 10 minutes, I'm like, man, it'd be really cool if I could clear a wave at all. To any capacity. So I think sometimes she feels a little bit bad to play. Wow. Once you hit that mid game, though, I mean, you're feeling okay. You're doing the same thing every hunter's doing, except you're doing it better. So I like it as a safe option into this Heimdallr. You have a way to, you know, he knocks you up. Cool. I fly away. I think that's a good use here. We see that in, you know, Hebo was picked up afterwards, but I think it is a good pickup here. Hebo and Muzenkob locked in. I'm a little curious on where some peeps are going at this point. Looking at these, you know, Muzenkob going mid, I'm guessing, but got a little Wisconsin being a little sneaky snakes.
Yeah, they have a lot of options. I wish Cabbage was on the cast, get some Cabbage predictions, because you could have the set go mid, you could have the AMC go solo, you could have the Hebo rock jungle. There's so many options here. But one thing that worries me is the initiate for Wisconsin. We talked about the dive very early on when we saw the set be the first lock-in. We were like, oh, okay, so they're hard committing to dive and to kill you. But now, with what we're seeing, the only initiate they really have is Ganesh, because sets initiate is a dive, and you can't use that to set up everybody else. So Wisconsin's putting a lot on their damage and just winning out these fights, while UCSB, you dive in, okay, well, here's a River's Rebuke. Chalk's gonna just say no. Jingwei can get out of dodge, so can Robin. Robin can counter dive. Robin can get on top of the Hebo the whole game, on top of the AMC. This is a tough comp for Wisconsin to fight into.
I am gonna wait and say it's gonna be tough. I'm waiting for the double flank where Set and Hebo just come in on top of the carries. They come on this Raijin and this Jingwei, and they just blow them up. If they know ults are down or beads are down, it's a rough time because Hebo hits the delete button and Set cleans up. That's kind of how I'm looking at it, but it's going to be a really hard dive. If I had to guess here, looking at where these people are going, I'm thinking, okay, Heimdallr, carry, easy. Ganesh, support, easy. After that, I really do think it's AMC mid. I think it's going to be maybe Set solo, Hebo jungle, but maybe they picked it as a flex to see, hey, is this a Raijin solo? And what are they going to lock in last pick? And they lock in the Chalk. I think Chalk does a lot of good things against this comp. Has that silence if you can make it happen. Has some good AoE. The slow. He kind of shuts down Set, and that makes you kind of want to put Hebo over there instead.
That's another option, too, because it could honestly, they still could be deciding now that the team's locked in, saying, "All right, well, we got the picks we wanted. Now, where do they go?" And you don't want to assume that, of course, for semifinals where stakes are higher. You're obviously trying to make it through. Big matchup here against it's a 2 versus a 3 seed, always a hotly contested matchup. But at the same time, like you said, once that chalk was locked in, for me, if I was on the side of Wisconsin, it would be a, all right, we do have some slight issues with it.
I just think you have to just think about, do you really want Set in that solo lane? And I really wonder if Hebo moves over there instead. I will have to see. I wouldn't be surprised. Game number 1 coming in and just be like, hey, let's just throw some things at the wall, see if it sticks, and then see how it goes. I mean, I don't hate that idea. In a lot of ways, I like it because you're coming in with some confidence, but you're also, it's like the beginning of a boxing match. You know, in round 1, you're jabbing about, you're looking for an opening, and now you go into game number 2, and if you find some things out, you know, maybe we don't see these picks again because you're like, oh, we found some things we like. But Gabba just gave us the word. We're ready for game number 1, Anthony.
We are indeed. So let's head in there and see what kind of boxing match we have. Is it an endurance? Is it a sprint? Those are always the big questions. And today it's between Wisconsin and UCSB for semifinals for Division 1. So let's get into it. Once again, my name's Anthony Melm, joined by Blaze McBain. And Blaze, my friend, I feel like you and I are going to see a absolute war of attrition in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think what Wisconsin originally wanted to do was run it down. And then they're like, oh, it's not Raijin solo. And now it's a war of, hey, we have to like stick this out. It's going to be a little bit slower play. But maybe, I don't know. We'll have to see. I like this idea of Hebo and Set just going and ganking people. So that might end up paying out well. It's just going to be having to live through the chalk, dude. It could be a little scary early, I think.
And putting the Hebo there was one of the things we were kind of floating through, and a lot of interest as well from you was on the Set and the AMC, but it seems like everything's kind of gone the least psychotic route for Wisconsin, which in an aspect I like a lot.
Yeah, I think going Hebo was wise. Oh, a lot of poke there. Was wise going in the chalk here. That you can have your, you know, Yellow River. You get to use that, throw it down, run away. I like it. I don't know. I think it was a better pick than to go into Set. Playing Set going into a slow is kind of one of the worst feelings in the world. But I am happy to say everybody cooked this game, which is a big dub.
Yeah, I too love some good cookery. And we've seen tons of it, it feels like, from the collegiate scene, but a lot of the time does seem to be working. Robin first to rotate over to the left-hand side of the map to secure the shield buff, and Set actually had to back due to some poke. So Wisconsin not going to be at the advantage on the left-hand side, but luckily for them, looks like Robin's not going to go for an early gank there. I'm almost surprised. I feel like while healthy, that could have been a decent chance.
I think you take it. I don't see, you walk up, they stick around, you get some good poke off, maybe you get a kill, maybe you just TKO and force them to back or use a lot of pots. I'm really surprised to the Rob just doesn't decide to walk up and find out, but yeah, you know, to each their own. Maybe at this point, it's game number 1, you're wanting to play it a little slower like we talked about. I mean, you know, you're jabbing. You're having to figure out what's going to work better here, but we do see the Set rotation coming over to the solo side.
Some beads online for that Hebo, so it does have some fighting potential once that Chalk's ultimate comes online. Here goes the Set, only level 3, and Hebo is far behind, so the damage and anxiety overload not going to be tremendous so far. And matter of fact, Chalk knows it, steps back up, does some good damage in return to the Set and to the Hebo, makes them both reconsider the gank. Meanwhile, upcoming on the way, does have a blink online. If he can get close enough to do some work, will run into both, but not quite have the distance needed to make a play happen.
I'm not going to lie to you. If he would have kept that back going, I thought he was dead. I was like, oh my god, he's going to get caught lazy backing. That's not how you want to see first blood go. But luckily, the Set walks away. But this is opening up a huge opportunity for UCSB to kind of steal away some farm here. That guy is hanging around, but upcoming in Dankshaw are saying, nah, we're going to take this red buff. We're going to take our blue buff. We're also going to take your Cyclops back here. And that's a nice pickup. But what I do like is on the other side is AMC said, hey, you guys are going to take away some farm from us. I'm going to go take your green buff and at least get a little bit, you know, for my troubles.
I also really like that the Robin is playing the way Robin needs to. Now AMC in some trouble. Beats forced out very early. Is level 5 and has a Ganesh nearby, so it'd be a risky fight, but we'll see how far they want to take it. Upcoming, still walking at that AMC and found some good damage with it. Jingwei may actually be in an odd spot now as well, but same thing could be said for Venom. Kind of chaos across. Robin will run into the two from the dual lane of Wisconsin, and they're going to focus on Venom. Good damage comes out. There's a shell already. There's the stun. One more auto will do it. First blood goes to UCSB.
Was wondering if he was going to stay in that crystal and try to teleport away, and he hit the beads and decided not to. I kind of wonder if he had stood there. The teleport wasn't that far. It would have been almost instant. I wonder if he would have got out if they would have just stood there and just took a couple hits. Instead, decides to run away and takes a spill. That's a nice play there. I mean, like you said, Ravana's doing everything you want. Up and Coming is doing everything you want out of your Ravana. Not going too crazy, getting some good poke, getting some good steal of farm, and I like it. Because the one thing that sometimes we can see with these Ravanas is they want to dive, especially when they hit level 5. They're like, oh, I can dive in now. And they get a little bit too far ahead. We're not seeing that out Upcoming here. Upcoming playing it nice, smooth, and silky so far. And I'm curious to see if a play on the right-hand side of the map comes up probably in the next couple minutes.
Kyo could be in some trouble here on that Jingwei, and going to be in a lot of trouble. Going to get set through on a bit of a tour of all the different Smite maps on the land and get picked up to make it a 1-1 game. That one goes to Venom. That was a tough break, but now 3 mid collapsing on Wisconsin. Ridge Rebuke comes out, but it's off the mark. That's going to kill any chance of a fight there for UCSB.
Chalkster has to be the luckiest AMC I've ever seen in my life. They're like 90% of the time, you get just absolutely stopped there.
Ridge Rebuke comes out. Great damage returns. Upcoming somehow survives, and that makes it possible for a triple kill to come out of nowhere from Anxiety Overload. Gonna chase down that Hebo too. Wisconsin just got absolutely blown up, and they don't even know how it happened. And there's the fadeaway shot from Dankshot to clean up for Wisconsin. This has a terrible fight by that red buff. And UCSB, they found that so early.
They messed around and found out after that Rivers Rebuke. I mean, Upcoming did the up down there, and I thought it might have been devastating. But, you know, Anxiety Overload does exactly what the name intends, brings in the chalk ult and causes the anxiety to ensue, picking up a triple kill there. That feels really good on your soul laner, who's now 2 levels up. 3-0-1 to start off the game at 6 minutes. I mean, I'm a happy person at that point. Going to secure their own blue buff, and this is huge. I mean, we're seeing leads across the board here. That guy just ended up tying up with Upcoming as far as levels go, but, Solo's up 2 levels, your mid's up a level. You have a little bit of a lead in jungle, too. And it seems like even in duo, you might have a smidge of a lead. So this is really, really good for UCSB so far. Good news for Wisconsin. It's early. The gold lead isn't that big, but they're getting absolutely... Wow.
Did you see a Robin there? Because I certainly did not see a Robin there for any longer than a millisecond. A big pickup there for Wisconsin. We'll see if they can continue it further. They do chase out the Emoja, but not going to hard commit to diving further. And purple buff will be secured for UCSB. I love the response there. If your jungle's being pressured, to actually respond to it, and Set walks back up and just takes the purple. No way.
Really like this. And what I was going to say is Wisconsin may be down 2 gold, but like this is nothing to be angry about. Like you're like, oh cool, we just slow it down a little bit. Like we know we're playing for late game, and then they just show up to a purple buff. They secure their own. They get a kill, and then they go steal one away. If you're Wisconsin, you're like, cool, we're still in it, no problem. No harm, no foul. And Up and Coming, just active as can be. Holy smokes, chasing down Simon.
And that's a lot of trouble for the Hebo, and should be the end. There it is. Gets landed with a fist, and Robin will have a second kill so far. UCSB are off to an incredibly strong start. And, there's been so much fighting, I haven't been able to mention it, but this Shock being so far ahead of the Hebo, earlier on when you saw that Hebo surviving, that's not going to last much longer. Same thing could be said for this set.
No.
It's Anxiety Overload. It's a repeat performance. They're going to find a pick in the same spot they did earlier. The rest of Wisconsin making sure they don't fall into the same fate. They do not step up. They retreat back to that tier 2, and UCSB take another couple picks.
Simon needs to be careful. I am not stepping up to this red buff if I'm him. I am just chilling. I'm going back to my lane. I think he just let it go. It ends up getting stolen away. They might be able to make a play with Chalkster here, but it's a 4v3. This is a bit risky.
Almost a perfect River's Rebuke, just a bit too far forward. Didn't block both of those lanes out. That's the difference of Wisconsin getting away. UCSB are taking advantage of being so far ahead. They walk right to that blue buff, looking for an invade there, and they will secure it for Anxiety Overload, keeping that Hebo even further behind.
This is devastating for Wisconsin. That right side of the map, that solo side, is just really getting hunkered down by UCSB here. They're going to have to find a way to counter it. I mean, I would like to see some better ward coverage. I think it would help out a little bit of just knowing when upcoming's, on the way. But currently, on the duo side, they're doing okay. They're fine. They have the Heimdall on the board, about the same level. Overall, I think they're in a decent spot.
We see that pressure coming out more and more from that Shock as well, making that Hebo use ultimates, hide under tower, essentially. It's a tough time over there. And now Gank coming over the duo, looking for Pumpkio, who does sniff it out thanks to a ward. So that's going to turn that into an invade, and with Yamoja and Raijin on the way, might have another early team fight. So many early team fights this game. It's been out of control, but will Venom get away from this one? A good silence from the Ganesh, and there's that teleport to get away, but Set goes back into the back line and finds Pumpkio. Just completely caught off guard by that Set. Dingshaw gonna fall as well, and Wisconsin turn a backpedal into 2 free kills.
And that's the thing that Set can do. He can turn a fight around. When it becomes these attrition-like battles, he loves it. If he's like above 75% health and he has ult, he's like, cool, watch this. I just dash in, drop my ult, and I spam clones and then skewer and call it a day. So, I mean, really a great pickup there for that guy, being able to go through and pick everything up and clean up. Also gives his carry a kill. That's really nice. The jungler, you don't always get that when you're playing carry, junglers sometimes can be a little selfish, and I get it. They want their farm too. But we like to see it. Again, this duo side of the map for Wisconsin is very much in control. And the solo side's where it's been a little bit more of a problem. There's a bit of a gap there just due to the picks. You're versing Chalk and Hebo. I think later on in the matchup that kind of evens out a little bit based off what they want to do. But so far, I really like Wisconsin's way back in. Right now, UCSB is very much in control, and I expect that when this Pyro comes up and we see another fight go on this right-hand side, that they're going to kind of go crazy.
And there's a blink forward from upcoming.
Oh,
there's the slam of Mystic Rush. There's the pick. That's going to be 2 gone from Wisconsin before they could even react. That's a free blue buff. Every time I get the mic, all I want to do is I just want to talk about the gold and give a state of the map. And every time it happens, somebody gets blown up. We're almost at 12 minutes, almost at that first Stygian Beacon. 1,800 gold just about favoring UCSB. Experience even more significant than that at 3,300 with that beacon about to spawn.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 2-for-1 special over there in solo, man. You walk around the corner, you ult, and you're like, oh, I got a double kill. Meanwhile, mid lane, he just has to hit something. He can't do it at all. Chalkster gets away again, avoids the rivers, avoids the lightning balls coming his way. What a lucky AMC is all I have to say. I am ready for the Stygian Beacon fight, though I don't know if there's going to be much of one. UCSB comes away with it. It looks like they might be trying to pressure gold.
It's kind of insane to think there was all this fighting, all this back and forth, yet the Stygian Beacon was the thing to fall for free. But now UCSB, as you said, 2 members standing around that gold. They looked for Venom, who was able to get away. Might have the junglers running into each other by that shield buff, potentially, with the Yamoja being the difference. That's a bit further back, but Set not going to turn the wrong direction. And over in solo, we are absolutely seeing the problems of being a Hebo and getting so far behind to a Chalk.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Warlock stat pickup early. I think once you get it stacked, it's going to feel pretty good. It's just getting it there. Right now, it's a bit of a problem. I can't imagine that this is going to be the pick going into game number 2, just on the sense of pressure. But I'm hoping that Simon gets to turn it around a little bit. Right now, it's been absolutely dominant performance over there by Anxiety Overload. I would say would be 3-0-3, but got that 2-for-1 special off that ult a little bit ago, and really has just shown all these buffs that have come Chalk's way are finally maybe paying off a little bit by high-res.
Yeah, finally, right? And it's tough because we talked about seeing the cookery, and it was there, but it just, unfortunately, has not been able to follow through. Heimdall is in absolute no man's land right now. 4 members of UCSB are all kind of in range, but thankfully, had a far enough TP to be safe. Well, same be said for the teammates, though. Spire Rock did find some trouble, took some strong damage from UCSB, and now everybody is on this left-hand side of the map. So Chaos side say it's time to go, and they're going to find Set right away and force away that Ganesh. It's Gold Fury time. The only chance at contest will be that Heimdall. The other members of Wisconsin are heading towards the Pyromancer, where it should be free, unless... There's always an unless. Upcoming's on the way to it. Gonna be a close call, but it will go the way of Wisconsin thanks to that Dark Pillars. Can AMC survive? Yes, has enough damage.
I think they're really lucky Upcoming didn't have an ultimate there. Because I think we're talking about a different play if the ultimate's up. It pans out for him pretty well there. Nice use of beads there by Pumpkio. I like it. You know, we don't get to see that happen too often to avoid the Niflheim there, but it's going to be a tier 2 tower mid. The good news is Wisconsin picks up the bomb there. That will help them maybe with some objectives in a bit. As Pumpkio decides, hey, you know, you don't have an ultimate to scare me away now, and I have a dash, and I can play, you know, run around the rocks as much as I want.
Pumpkio's chasing for it, but has to get there before the TP goes off, and will not. The TP will get across and get Venom out of dodge just in time. But again, that ultimate response was important. That's why it was possible, and now even more important than that, there is no ADC for Wisconsin on his left-hand side. But looks like UCSB is done chasing. 3 minutes later, and the gold scenario's gotten even worse, just underneath 4K. Well, Experience doing much of the same thing. We're almost a 5K there, favoring UCSB. Wisconsin are just not on the ropes quite yet, but I mean, they're at the point where their trainers are yelling louder.
Yeah, this is going to be problematic. I mean, hopefully you'd like to see Ninja pick up, or that guy pick up a kill here. Does. I'm actually really surprised that it was able to pan out the way it did. But I don't know they're going to catch this Yamoja. I like the trade pickup they get there. Maybe they can put some pressure on this left side. It seems like their win condition at the moment. But everywhere else on the map, it hasn't looked great. It is a struggle for sure. It's a 4-level deficit in solo right now between the Chalk and the Hebo, and that's kind of been the thing to talk about. Warlock staff online, now stacking this book, and, you know, we might be talking about a very different matchup for this Hebo in 10 minutes, but that's getting the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, and with the Book of Thoth still being stacked up and only having those 25 stacks, that 10 minutes... If there's more death, if there's a lot of fighting and Hebo can't find time to go sit and get those stacks up to get that damage, it might be more like 15. And I don't know if Wisconsin can afford that. Anxiety Overload looking to take the 3v1, completely unfazed by it, seemingly so. Now has to go for the escape. Left side of the map, but Rivers Review going to find 2 from Wisconsin. They're both in trouble. They're both going to be gone. Double kill there for Dankshaw on that Raijin. Anxiety Overload did get picked up, but a 2-for-1 across the map. UCSB will continue to take those, even if that Chalk did offer some shutdown gold.
I was going to say, that's pretty big shutdown onto your mid laner, who is the highest level on your team and can pretty much contest into Dankshaw and to Anxiety Overload. Really like seeing Chalkster pick that up there. And now that guy is going in. They're looking for Dankshaw here. I think they might end up getting this, and they do. This is a nice swing for Wisconsin. It's something they needed. Oh, I like this.
Stinger, easy to get a second one, but there's Rob with a cutoff, and Upcoming plays perfect defense to get the Emoja out of there, and the bees won't quite do it. 20 health is all that was needed from that Yamoja to get away.
No shot that Bluestone ticks don't kill the Yamoja, man. That is wild. Really, really good play there by UCSB. I like it. So far, so good. But this shows Wisconsin has the way to play back in. We were talking about nearly a 4,000, 500 gold lead. It's not that bad. It's, 30, under 3,400 right now. That's big. I mean, 2,700 gold. That's huge for Wisconsin. I think there's a way back in. I think it's centered around this duo lane and keeping these fights separated. But again, now Venom's going to get ganked here, and this could be problematic.
And won't get that TP off. Just gets gunned down by Pumpkio. Unfortunate there for Venom, but big for Pumpkio to pick that up as well. You talked about the win condition of that duo lane, and another interesting thing that those charts showed me is that the experience lead, which we were talking about how significant it was, almost tied up. It does jump back, but still impressive to me that Wisconsin's been able to keep it even in check at all. And
yeah,
did Nate get? Oh, Nate almost got that. I thought for a second.
that was almost scary. I think the other thing that's really interesting here is the fact that Jingwei obviously building crit. That's what Jingwei is good at. But we see Venomer here just choosing to go more of like a power pin build. And I want to see how this pans out over time and see, is the Heimdall allowed to be a little bit more efficient? If that's an Odibo in that last slot there. Or is it going to be something just like a late Deathbringer and you sell Cal for another crit item? I think we'll have to see. It's a very curious thing that could happen. But overall, I like it so far. My other curiosity is, Spire Rock picking up Spear of Deso, second item on the Ganesha is kind of wild.
Speaking of cooking, right? Oni Fury goes to UCSB. No contest will come out from Wisconsin. Unfortunate, because with that Spear of Deso online, one Dark Pillars maybe could have gotten the Oni.
Yeah, I mean, you have the cooldown, you got the pin. I mean, it has to. I mean, I'm sure it feels good, but I wonder if like a more support item could have felt better there for the team. I don't hate it though. I'm all about like supports building like one damage item. I think that makes it fun.
Oh boy, 20 minutes in, and this has the writings on the wall of a absolute bloodbath. I mean, 20 minutes in, if it feels like you're at 32 with the amount of fighting you've had, usually you can read the room a bit and prepare for late. I will say UCSB feel like they've found themselves in a much better feel position. Even the fights that they've lost, it's felt like they have not lost any momentum this entire game. But if you're Wisconsin, you've kept up, right, Blaze? So how do you take over now?
You hit level 20. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, like, but really and truly, that's what their comp wants to do, right? Like, they picked late game gods. They did, and really and truly, as the game goes on, this just gets better for Wisconsin in a lot of ways. It's like, hey, if we can hold on, it's going to be good. And I think that's what we're going to end up seeing here. Is we talked about 26 minutes is where I'm trying to get to for Simon. If 26 minutes is accomplished, I think that allows Simon to play a little bit better on this Hebo than what we've seen. And not that the play's been bad, it's just easy to gank this Hebo in this matchup currently. So I really like it. I think that's the win condition, but they're going to have to stall this out. They can't allow fire for free. Or if they do, they need to get something for it. And I don't know that they can. So that's something we're going to have to watch out for from Wisconsin right here, because UCSB still does have control.
Fire Giant might be the thing that puts them over the edge, but Wisconsin is on the way, rushing to it. They have time. Fire Giant's only at a quarter health. AMC gonna look for it, but there goes the set and instantly blows up Pumpkin with the help of the Ganesh. Fire Giant gets let go, and everybody's just spread out from UCSB. That's not where they can be in this fight. Hebo gonna find one. Chalk will get the only return so far. The Fire Giant's still low. Fire Giant goes to Wisconsin. Double kill for the set. Only 2 left standing for UCSB. What happened? This was their game to lose. At the Fire Giant, they just say, come on back, Wisconsin.
I can tell you what happened. The double flank happened, baby. The set comes in, puts down the Jingwei, but on the backside of the fight, Simon was able to come in as a Hebo, get a full ult off, and then boom, give it the hands. And it was huge there for Wisconsin. They did everything they needed to do there. They hit that late game point where they're not all 20, but a couple people are there. Their builds are mostly finished out. And now you're talking about a Fire Giant. You're talking about a Phoenix. This is a huge swing in their favor. You're talking about up to 7,000 experience. We were talking about them being down 4K less than 10 minutes ago. I mean, this is absolutely a great turnaround for Wisconsin, and it was hold on and get to the late game. We knew the early game was going to be a bit rough based off the picks, but right now they are putting on a show for sure.
It feels like Wisconsin picked that way. They were like, all right, well, we can have fun in the laning phase. Let's see what works out. Maybe Simon was like, hey, I want to try a Hebo here. Anybody cool with that? And then they took it in, and all of a sudden, they found themselves 12-14 at 23 minutes. So somehow it's pulled through. And now that we're at that late game, like you said, they had to hit level 20. They touch level 20. They get a glimpse of it, and they run through UCSB at the Fire Giant. And now it's a complete reset from UCSB in my mind. The strengths that you had are gone or wavering. So now you've got to reset your team fight plans.
Yeah, I mean, they got a waft of level 20, and they're like, guys, it's go time, we're there. And I mean, I really think it's panned out. They kind of weathered the storm. They allowed Duo to really sustain through a lot. I mean, I've talked a lot about duo was kind of the point where they're ahead, but they've been ahead in mid a lot of the game. I mean, Chalkster's played really, really well in this AMC, and it's allowed them to kind of, dampen the pressure by not giving up too much mid. And I think that's worked out well. But UCSB is not out. I mean, they had the lead for a long time. There was a reason they're in the lead. But now they're having to play defense. That's not something they've had to do this game. They've really been on the kind of W key. And we'll have to see how this Titan fight plays out now.
Stormcall finds 3 from UCSB, and Rivers Rebuke is great too, but they gotta clean the kills. An upcoming Mist, the Mystic Rush up down. That's massive. Now a 3-man knockup from Simodine helps Wisconsin potentially turn this fight around. They still got Chalkstar alive, and tons of damage came across from that AMC, and upcoming felt the brunt of it and is gone. Now UCSB, after that initiation, have to find themselves retreating. Pumpkio looked for anything, couldn't find it. Blink forward from Hebo, pops Pumpkio. They do clean up that Hebo on the way out, but my goodness, how can you not erase them after that kind of initiation coming from UCSB?
I mean, UCSB had the best initiation you can ask for. A 3-man silence into Rivers Rebuke. It doesn't get much sweeter than that, for sure. But Wisconsin, hold on. That's been the key to their playstyle the whole entire game. They trade 2 for 2. I think in a lot of cases, that's a huge win for them based off how that fight started off, because it looked bad. And now we see Fire Minions, doing some things over there to the Phoenix. That's always a fun time.
Wait.
How'd they get there, you might ask? Well, the Titan's gone, so they picked the Phoenix to go to instead. And that's always a fun time, because once the Titans are marching, the Minions must go
I
somewhere.
haven't seen that before.
Yeah, it's fun. I love the Minions, dude. Like, I like it when the Phoenixes are down and the Minions are just chilling, like in the throne room waiting.
Give me minion
for anything
comms.
to happen. Yeah, Minion comms.
Yeah, in SPL, they're like, all right,
Yeah.
we're going to take a listen with the Highland Ravens. Give me a listen with the Fire Minion wave.
Yeah, there's like,
God, we're all dead!
the Titans are the Titans are here. We gotta go somewhere.
Man, those bananas are so strong.
We can go attack this Phoenix Reich. It'll do damage. They get there. Oh, dang it! The tier 2's still up.
they're yelling at the Archer minions for feeding.
Oh my goodness. But I think the thing is here, I mean, you got a Phoenix if you're Wisconsin. It's coming back up now, so that mid-bird is going to come back up. That's going to be good for UCSB. But UCSB, they helped weather the storm a little bit. They did show that they have a defense, they have a strategy that can work. And I'm going to have to see how this plays out. I mean, there's a Fire Giant coming up soon. I have a feeling, both teams are going to have to fight over it. And then once blood spills, it could be the go button rather than going just for the Fire Giant. But if I'm Wisconsin, do I show all 5 members there, or do I send someone to poke up the wave and maybe look at that Phoenix instead? Might be an option as well.
I was going to say, you spent the beginning talking about the flank. Then we saw the flank actually come to fruition. This is the best time for it if they can make it happen. The ward coverage is decent on the left side of the Fire Giant from UCSB, but that right side coming through solo lane does leave a lot to be desired. Maybe that's where they can make it happen if they can spot that out. But so far, it's set in mid, not going the perfect way for that to happen. So we might have a Fire Giant dance. And again, it's what I talked about. Place, it's 27 minutes, and this is a 38-minute type of Fire Giant dance.
Yeah, I mean, and if you saw the position there by Simodine was in a position that UCSB had no idea where Simodine was. And that's kind of how it happened last time, is they pushed up too far, and, they got hit by the wave. And I'm not going to be too surprised if that idea happens here again. This double flank is definitely, I think, the play in for this Fire Giant, but they want it to be pulled before they go that route. And I'm not sure UCSB is going to give them what they want. But maybe if they back up far enough, they'll go ahead and decide to make the attempt. But if I'm UCSB, I'm looking at Pyro first.
That's just what they do. They pull it, and they should get it as well. Wisconsin doesn't really have an interest in overextending just for that Pyro. And with how Smite is, we're tend to get glued to this side of the map. There's not really a reason for anyone to split left. So we're just stuck in this dance. And Wisconsin, we've talked about their answer. It's the flank. But for UCSB, their play here is just to kind of wait and counter-initiate. Anything else would be risky, but they're going to take the risk. They look for Rivers Rebuke, but it was just the Ganesh who gets right through it. Venom found some poke as well, but does escape as well.
I get the feeling that during that moment, it was forgotten that Ganesha can dash through walls.
Yeah.
But also, did Wisconsin steal the pyro away, or did UCSB just decide not to pick up the bomb?
I hate when people don't pick up the bomb.
They just left it there. I mean, it's free. You just take it. It does damage. Why? And it knocks people up if you use it during a team fight. Why wouldn't you pick it up?
You know, I've always found it fascinating that people do forget that Ganesh does that, especially considering the name of the ability is remove obstacles.
Yeah. I mean, it's really like, hey, you drop something in front of me, cool, watch this. I'm going to remove them from my vision and run through them. I am just really surprised that you drop a River's Rebuke just for the Ganesha there. I mean, maybe there's a chance. It was really just the Ganesh there. I'm kind of confused. But again, UCSB is not going to pull this fire. They don't want to. They want to force Wisconsin into a fight or to pull it themselves. And I think Wisconsin know better. I think Wisconsin at this point are like, cool,
sure.
It's waiting for enhanced fire. If we can get it to be enhanced, that's going to be great. We're not really losing any gold. We're not losing anything, really, because all 5 members of the enemy team are standing here looking at us. So,
well, they're saying, sure, you want Set to blink in our backline. We'll just wait with Storm Call.
Yeah.
that's what there's not really another play for them, because if you know what your opponent's going to do, why would you go out of your way to play it incorrectly?
Yeah, we do see the hover of Phantom Shell here. I mean, you know, it's going to be used. If that River's Rebuke is good enough, you just Phantom Shell and everybody walks out anyway. We'll have to see if that ends up happening. We haven't really seen, besides the silence that started off a fight over at the left side tier 2, we haven't really seen too many River's Rebukes lock people in. So we'll have to see if that ends up happening here. And around Fire Giant Pit, there's a lot of opportunity for him. We just have to see if it can happen.
One good thing for Wisconsin as well, the longer this Fire Giant dance goes on, the less farm for this Yamoja, who's already significantly behind the Ganesh, especially in terms of items. I mean, it's significant. Yeah, it's a full item, probably more than that as well. That's not good. It's not where you want to be.
No, I mean, you're happy you're 1-0-9. You have a really good support stat line, but you're level 17 at 30 minutes, and that feels bad. So they do need this Yamoja to get some farm, but they can't walk away. There's no opportunity for that. If they walk away, Wisconsin's just going to get a fire and run it down. So you have to find a way in here, and the jabbing is going to have to stop at some point. Someone's going to have to take a risk, and it looks like right now UCSB decide to step up, and it might be bitten off a little too much here. Oh no, maybe they actually did.
All of a sudden, a lot of poke has found Anxiety Overload and Dankshaw. We'll see if Wisconsin try to take advantage of it. I'm sure they want to, but they have to find the right way in. They step up hyper aggressive, and the Hebo goes for it, dives in deep, might pay for it, but so far still alive. Pumpkio forced out. There goes Shells. River's Rebuke comes out, only finds the Ganesh once again. It was a great ultimate position-wise, but did not find much. Venom went to the back line, found Dankshaw with the help of the set, and now Wisconsin just playing patiently in the mid lane was all they may have needed to do. But one finds from upcoming, and now one could follow again from that Chalk. Runs down Chalkstar, double kill for Pumpkio, and UCSB somehow turned that fight back again after it seesawed both ways. And the last remaining member will be this Hebo, who at this point, I mean, his job is just to see how much he can waste from Anxiety Overload.
You know what's crazy about that fight? If that Dharmic Pillars was up like 3 units further, it kills the Jingwei. Well, nice deicide there. Anxiety Overlord really causing some anxiety about Chalk for the next game. I wonder if that actually gets through. It's going to be a free fire here for UCSB. I mean, just an excellent fight put together by them there. The Dharmic Pillars ended up being a little bit off the mark. It didn't connect with the Jingwei, and that really allowed a nice opportunity there for UCSB to turn it around. They didn't lose their carry, and in turn, their carry got to turn around and put out some damage. And this is actually huge. I mean, UCSB gets enhanced fire. There's a lot of tier 2 towers up for them to go through, and I expect they might go over to the beacon, then hit gold, and then it's going to be go down left lane, which they might even have to go to because it might fall to minions in a second. And then I would just strip the tier 2s and maybe grab a Phoenix while I'm out there.
Why not? I mean, you put yourself in such a perfect position. That fight feels like, I mean, it was confusing because it felt like there was multiple points where Wisconsin won the team fight.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw the Hebo blink aggressive. We saw Venom with a perfect spot.
It's really strange that UCSB walk away with that fight. I mean, you're talking Anxiety Overload stepped up too far, 8 over half the health bar. Dangshaw, 8 over half the health bar. I mean, everything was in favor of Wisconsin there, and I don't know if it was a misplay in comms of who they wanted to go on, where they wanted to go, but there was enough confusion and concern for UCSB that Wisconsin should have been able to kind of just, run it down a little bit. And they had the potential that if they got enough picks, they didn't even need Fire Giant. They could have just ended the game through mid. But now they're having to play on their back foot, and now they're going to have to play defense. And I don't know if their defense is as good as UCSB's was.
I'm definitely on the same page as that, especially because UCSB have been relying the entire game on just saying, all right, come at us then. Let's see what you got. And that benefits them so significantly if they do find themselves in the back foot that Wisconsin, I mean, they've got to hold on, but they have to hold on and not be able to push back unless they get a D-side. They have to hold on through another Fire Giant, potentially. That's not a great spot to be in.
No, I mean, this is the thing about these mage solos, is they're not as tanky as a warrior. And I've been talking about this. Everybody's like, oh, mage solos. If you don't play mage solos, you lose. But that's not true. Like, if you have a tank that can be as disruptive as what Anxiety Overlord has been on this chalk, it's devastating, because guess what dies really fast? A mage. And now that guy getting absolutely poked out by Upcoming, and this is going to be a siege on the right side, Phoenix.
That set being poked is the go button. There's a River's Rebuke as well, just to put Wisconsin in an awkward spot. But the Dark Pillars, in response, was perfectly placed there by Spire Rock. That was enough to keep UCSB back. Credit where credit's due. That was a significant Ganesh ultimate. I mean, that ultimate there is the only reason UCSB isn't probably one Phoenix through already.
Yeah, I mean, that was a really, really good Dark Pillars. I was wondering, because they didn't push forward for a second. I couldn't see it through the River's Rebuke, but honestly, it just really, really great play there by Spire Rock. But now that's down, it gives them a little bit of an opening here.
Could be even bigger of an opening. Upcoming into the back line. We'll find two. Apparently we had to look out for the flank from UCSB all along, but now Set pulls through, cleans up Upcoming, and UCSB find themselves in a choke point. They've got to back out all of a sudden. They had the opening. Upcoming ripped that fight open just to get dropped down, and without that Robin, without that backline presence, Set can run through, and Dankshaw almost finds the Raijin, but they get backed up again. 2 Phoenixes down for Wisconsin, but they're still hanging on, Blaze.
Yeah, I mean, UCSB has to be careful here, because I think if that guy makes contact with the carries of UCSB, it could be a little bit devastating. We saw how much damage he could put out there, but really that comes down to Dankshaw. Dankshaw just put out so much damage with the ultimate there, just throwing it down, drumming away, and opened up so much for Coming to be able to take the opportunity on.
UCSB grouped up at the left side. Phoenix, so watch for that flank, because as UCSB steps up, Set goes in, but does get stopped. Dark Pillars get countered as well, because that time, River's Rebuke came out at a much more convenient time for UCSB. That cleans up all the Phoenixes for them, and they'll begin the retreat to reset and step up at their own pace. Wisconsin has lost all Phoenixes, but they have a better defense than you might have expected, but they have to still make it worth it. For a second, it looks like they might consider running after UCSB, but I think the new play, Blaze, and please correct me, but I think the new play might just have to be a Hail Mary attempt to get that EFG back.
I'm really surprised UCSB didn't go take Oni. And I think they should take Oni right now, because that makes the Hail Mary play for Fire so much harder. I mean, Fire's going to come up, and it looks like Wisconsin is going to make the play. They're over here. They are willing to probably take a shot. But, I mean, you lose one, and you might be done.
And on the other side of it, it'd be so hard to beat UCSB here, even if you get a complete team wipe, because they still have 2 Tier 2 towers up.
This is a sticky situation to be in. All of Wisconsin's here, though. They said, no, we're looking for a fight. They get Dankshaw's ult out. If they don't eat a ton of damage here, they could be okay. And it looks like they've weathered the storm a little bit. This could be huge.
Upcoming uses Mystic Rush in the backline. That helps out the Jingwei to find Simodyne. I don't even know how the Hebo got there, but for Wisconsin, that might have been one mistake too many in this fight. Cassette has to back. Somebody has to back.
No.
It might be too late. Pumpkio finds a double kill. There's another for Upcoming. Only 2 left standing for Wisconsin. It looks like UCSB, they said, all right, well, no objective needed. Thanks for those picks. Here we come. It's going to be Titan Siege time. Can Chalkstar and that guy be the only 2 left alive and be able to defend it? Nearly an impossible task, but the health bars aren't amazing. Set goes for it, finds one instantly, retreats back out. Dankshaw's gone, but Pumpkio was able to find that guy. It's just Chalkstar stuck in the River's Rebuke. There's the beads. It will not matter. Deicide finds Wisconsin and UCSB find themselves a victory in game 1.
Simodyne ulted in aggressively and just ended up in no man's land, for lack of better words, and that will make an end of Wisconsin's try to come back win there. And UCSB takes it away in game number 1. I think we're going to see a much different set of picks and bans in game number 2. And not because anybody played poorly, but I don't know if we see this, double flank comp again out of Wisconsin.
I agree completely. Like you said, nobody played poorly, but they could only do so much. I would have loved to see Simodyne on something like a Chalk. I would have loved to see Venom on maybe an ADC that could have spread the damage a bit quicker as opposed to having to rely on positioning and abilities. And that guy in Chalkstar, I feel like if there was because the AMC wasn't bad, but if there was a mage there that didn't have to rely on being hyper damaged because there was some more frontline to support Chalkstar, that game could have gone completely different. But UCSB, they do pull through strong and they do so in convincing fashion. So if you are UCSB, let's get our one last thing to look for before we head to a short break here, please. If you're UCSB, is there anything you want to get rid of? Is it potentially that set?
I think the only thing I'm super concerned about out of that game is obviously the set. The set provided really, really good dive and showed, hey, if he can get to the back line, he could just kill one of our backliners, even if all 5 of us are there. But if you're that good at set, you're probably really good at some other assassins as well. So maybe they decide to try to, hold on to that pick and let it go through instead of facing something else. But that would be the one pick. Maybe I could say the Ganesha. There were some really good ultimates there by Spire Rock, but I don't think it was so devastating that they couldn't deal with it.
I'm on the same page as you, and to see where the next page of this book takes us, we'll be right back after a short break here on 8GL with more from Wisconsin UCSB. Hello and welcome back to AGL with more collegiate action. Game 2 on the horizon of this semifinals matchup between D1 Wisconsin and UCSB. Once again, my name is Anthony Malum, joined by Blaze McVeigh, and Cabbage is running production tonight. And Game 1 was certainly back and forth, but it ended up going the way of UCSB, who had the domination early and then figured it out late game. But in that mid game, there were signs of life from Wisconsin. Blaze, the big question is, can they find it again?
I think so. I think a lot of it had to do with their draft. I think, like I talked about, game number 1, they go in, they want to try something maybe a little bit new, something they've been testing out, just kind of see how it feels. And they know it's a 3-game set. So, you take one loss. Yeah, your next game is match point. But maybe for some people, they like that anxiety, or anxiety overload on the other team. But no, they like that pressure that it brings and what match point brings to play better. And I wonder if maybe that's part of it. I also think, again, I think we're going to see a different comp out of Wisconsin this time to allow them just to play a little bit more well-rounded as a team. Not that, again, as I said at the end of the last match, not that anybody played poorly, but just offering a better structure for a team fight against what they were going into could be a bit more interesting this time around.
Well, if you like team fighting, I have just the way for you to get that team fighting across, play some chaotic gaming. There's a collegiate tournament on the horizon, and did you know that in terms of male, human, and female Pokemon, Vaporeon is the most compatible Pokemon for giving humans Smite Gems? Don't believe me? Well, find out in this week's Collegiate 5v5/tournament on Saturday the 2nd at 7 p.m. Eastern. Make sure to get in the Collegiate AGL Discord server for more information and to sign up for that. And take it easy on Vaporeon. They deal with a lot as is.
Those evolutions, there's just so many of them. One of them is bound to be more compatible with everybody else than one of the others. I'm a little bit surprised at Vaporeon, but that's fine. That's how you need to get your Smite Gems. Go make a Vaporeon friend.
Smite players do anything for Smite Gems, clearly so.
Yeah,
but,
clearly so.
Anyway, let's get into picks and bans and get far away from talking about Vaporeon. Let's talk about Smite Gods and where we might potentially see some bans lie. I know we were both talking about the potential of a chalk is a big thing because anxiety overload just ran that early to mid game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually really surprised because I keep seeing these buffs to chalk, and I'm like, surely this god isn't bad, and high res wants him to be good, and I just don't see him. And now I just did, and I'm like, yeah, that's why you should ban him. So, something to watch out for here. We do see the Camazots banned away, another Mamam ban, and then Alpwash and Chernobog are the ones being hovered here, and it looks like Yamoja's the one they don't want to see again this time around these first phases of bans.
I find that really interesting because, I mean, and I say this with respect to three SBC. Oh man, it mixes me up so bad with the team name. The Emoja wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but the Rivers Rebukes in particular, I felt like left a lot to be desired at times.
Yeah.
I don't think that was the issue. I find it interesting that Wisconsin thought it was.
I think maybe they just didn't want to have to worry about buying a Phantom Shell. I mean, that might be part of it. They're like, let's open up a relic slot. Also, it did much better at the end once, the team fight came and you have the chalk there. So like, hey, we don't want to deal with that again. But it's a Baba Yaga pickup, which was really dominant most of this year of Smite in the mid lane. And then a Ratatasker as well. I kind of like this change up here. But on the side of Wisconsin, I mean, it's Ravana, it's Set, it's Ganesha. And this opens up a lot of flexibility because that could be Rav solo, jungle. We might not see Set in jungle this time around. That's all I'm saying.
The best part about this too for Wisconsin for me is it forces UCSB to pick a certain way. They have to now pick for safety. They cannot pick for willy-nilly anymore. They've got to pick things that can survive. Because you want to talk about dive, a Robin and Set combination is one thing. You add a Dharmic Pillar to get them into that fight. Oh my goodness.
I think this is interesting for sure. I want to see what the next pick is. I mean, they're banning Toth here. There's a mage coming. And I'm curious to see who it's going to be. I wouldn't mind necessarily seeing a Poseidon get through here. in this face if I was Wisconsin. I mean, Poseidon, I think Morgan Le Fay could go really, really well with this comp. We'll have to see how that plans out here. Or an Agni could be pretty fire. Just saying.
Vaporeon, Agni, pretty fire. we're hitting every aspect. There's the Chalk ban. It made it to phase 2 of bans for Wisconsin, so no interest and risking a Chalk being run back for anxiety overload, going to force something new out. And it looks like UCSB have no interest in that Agni, so they're going to get rid of it themselves.
Dang it, man. I'm just saying. You hit a bomb with a Ravana set on your team. Yeah. It's not a fun time. I've been there. Lancelot banned away here again by Wisconsin. Not surprised by that. I think we could have. I think the only thing I am surprised by is the Emoja ban. But I think this really leaves UCSB in a weird, precarious position because you need safety, but you don't want to draft so safe that you can't engage a team fight. So this leaves you in a situation of who do we want to be our front line? Is this Ratatasker going solo? I don't think so. Ooh, a Horus I would like to see. I think Horus gives you good initiation, has good heal, can just drop ship you somewhere. I think that with the Rat ult can be very, very disorienting. Have to see if they lock this in here. But I think your frontline setup needs to be something that can counter engage really, really well and just shut it down, but also provide at least some engage as well.
Horus would bring that, but there's plenty of options on the table for UCSB, which I'm sure they know, which is why they're taking their time. You can't really risk anything at this point. I mean, this is now the match point for them that they want to move on. So you don't want to take unnecessary risk. You don't want to hand anything away to Wisconsin. It is semifinals. It's just that's not when you want to start taking the chances, diving deep in the God pool, unless it's an emergency. And I don't think they're at an emergency yet.
No, I don't think so. I mean, Achilles is up. And if they hadn't locked this Ratatasker, I'd even say Thanatos looks kind of appetizing here. When you see like Ravana, who uses a lot of shields, and same with Ganesha, you can kind of take that away. Will be the Horus lock-in. Again, I don't dislike this. I think Horus, especially in duo lane, provides a lot of pressure. The problem is you're into a Ganesha, that silence can be aggravating, but that silence is going to be aggravating no matter who you play. So
true.
We'll have to see who ends up getting locked into this duo lane here. I'm kind of curious to see what their last pick's going to be. I have some ideas, but there's the Poseidon that I was asking for. And they're going to go back to the Heimdallr.
I love the Poseidon. I'm not sure if I'm huge on the Heim. I almost wish we would see something different. Okay, the Cupid could bring so much.
I like that. I like Cupid much better.
Love here. Oh my goodness.
Let's go. Not only that, Cupid's healing now. The hearts give him healing back, which is something new that people aren't used to. This is a really, really good duo lane. And good for team fights, too. Dharmic Pillars, Fields of Love, Kraken. There's a lot of AoEs you got to watch out for.
Set and Robin are diving on top of you.
Yeah. And you know what Poseidon's worst nightmare is? Robin. So, I mean, like, you don't have to worry about that.
True.
I think this looks a lot better for Wisconsin than game number 1 did. I think if you were sitting here and you're looking at this comp, this looks a little bit terrifying.
And when you consider how good that mid-game went.
Yeah. I think this looks much better. You have a much better early game. And then mid-late is going to feel, if good, if not better, than what you had before. Because the good news is they don't have a Hebo that is really going to struggle with the tankiness when it ults in. Like, it's really trying to one-shot somebody and hopefully survive. A Geb is going to be locked in here. I like the Geb. Gives you the CC immunity. Has Shockwave. Has that AoE control as well. Not a bad pickup at all. But this Wisconsin comp's looking kind of nice.
I feel like UCSB almost felt forced to go something for survivability here.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a Geb, it was probably going to be something like a Kepri. Just something to help them weather the storm that's Wisconsin's fight. They really didn't have any options there. And that's part of what made this draft so much better. I mean, this is a completely different team drafting. The way they went about it was different. The pick selection is obviously good, but everything around it was just significantly better.
Yeah, I look at this, and originally I was thinking, man, you know, it'd be really good here is like Jing Chen, because they don't have CC immune ults, and I think Jing Chen brings a lot. A lot of people don't realize that his, breath does it causes anti damage, where you're going to lose a percentage of your damage, much like what Geb does anti crit with his passive. But I think in a lot of ways, Jing Chen's kind of slept on, and I think he is very disruptive to Ravana's set. But a Geb's going to do the same thing. You have that shockwave, you have the shields to bail people out, and your Cataclysm can be good setup. But is Geb going to have to go Blink to get the Cataclysms off? That's where you start running into some issues. And I do think Wisconsin, their draft this time really forced UCSB into a much more difficult situation as far as picks and bans went.
I'm definitely on board with that. One thing I'll also be looking for is Wisconsin became very much a team where we could look and we could see the way they go about the team fights. You talked about the flanks, so we'll see what starts to become the mini meta within game. But with that being said, it's time for a game. So let's head into game number 2 between Wisconsin and UCSB. Now, if UCSB take this game home, they move on. Wisconsin have to stay alive if they want a chance at Division 1 finals. Nice and early, clean, get in there, get ready for it. Once again, my name is Anthony Mellon, joined by Blaze McBain, and Cabbage is running through the production today. Blaze, I am much more excited for this game than I was game 1, just off the comps alone.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game looks more like two cohesive teams popping off against each other, and that's not to take away from either team in game number 1. But I just think this is a lot more exciting to watch. You have a much more kind of standard pickup here of what we're kind of used to seeing, I guess I should say. But I think this is going to be a slugfest. I don't think it's going to be... And you remember how game number 1 was. There was a lot of fighting early. But I think this is going to be... The fighting's going to be a lot more interesting overall. But we'll have to see how it goes here in game number 2. Everybody's cooking again. That's a big positive. And I'm kind of excited to see what Chalkster decides to do here on this Poseidon. What's the route? What's the course of action? Oh, no.
Semifinals already in trouble. Forced back to tower line from anxiety overload on this Robin. I do like the Robin here for Semifinals. We saw a lot of the same playstyle from the Hebo, blinking into the backline, having no fear to go for it. And Robin makes all of those things easier while being considerably more tanky. So should be an interesting one to watch from Solo as well. Every lane brings something completely new. Relic-wise, a blink for the jungler of UCSB as well as the Geb. So blink Cataclysms early, not going to opt for that shell, going to save that for those late game team fights we mentioned.
I wonder if maybe we don't even see a shell. I wonder if we pick up something different here late game. Let's see once level 12 hits for the Geb, but I'm kind of the idea of maybe we don't see shell this time around, and maybe we see something a little bit more spicy. At least that's my hopes. We'll see how it ends up paying out here. Those shockwaves end up being devastating here as Upcoming blinks in and looks for Venomer.
Does get the Acorn Blast. There's the dash, but Venom able to get through and get to that tower for safety. As a rotation comes out from that guy as well, and with UCSB turning in, Radtasker is going to be in the worst possible spot for that guy, but couldn't find all of the damage. Had to get back out for safety, so Wisconsin won't find anything either. That's 2 fumbled first bloods on the dual lane.
I really am amazed that Upcoming lives there. I thought that was dead to rights, but lucky for them, you know, that guy comes over, it helps try to work on a shield buff, and now he's going to go ahead and back. So a lot different play here from the junglers as Simodine returning some of that damage from earlier on the Anxiety Overlord.
Massive, certainly, for the Robin to get any kind of advantage there, and already, just out the gate, crazy back and forth. And one relic that came to mind, we were talking about the Geb before, is definitely going to... I would love to see an entangling sprint. Get some roots across, take advantage of the lack of CC immune ultimates like you were talking about.
I honestly think, if let's say you blink, right? You blink, you Cataclysm. You wait like 3 seconds, you pop the sprint, you get the entangling sprint off, and that's a really hard fight if you're Wisconsin. No matter which way it's going, that's a rough time to have to deal with all that, and that's just one player on the UCSB's team doing that to you. So I think it could be interesting. I'm also not against like seeing something with a horrific to slow down and get that like anti-damage going. I think there's a lot of options here for sure.
It's a nice play there from Spyrock to make sure Venomer is plenty safe, and a really deep jungle invade coming out from Chalkster, going for the enemy speed buff.
What?
Nobody knows. All right. That's
I thought they did for a second. Pumpkins like stared over towards that way, but no.
Okay, just got away with that. Oh, Radtasker's about to find out. That's gonna hurt.
it's not just that, right? The speed buff's gone, but the back camp, like the chest camp, was taken by his dual lane.
Oh,
that is huge.
and now
Oh my
shield buff's
goodness.
being taken by Wisconsin, so there's no makeup farm there.
I love it.
That's a couple levels for that Ratatasker.
Yeah, that's a little bit devastating. We'll have to see if that plays out well for that guy over the next couple minutes. But I mean, Chalkster looking to make some moves here. Nice dash by Spire Rock. But here comes Upcoming over to the duo side, decides to change his mind. And now, gonna run into a Poseidon who's a full level up, decides to go in. I don't know if that's a target I want to go in on.
Same here, especially that Acorn Blast doesn't hit. To me, that eliminates any chance. And plus, the dash, always a risky play there. Now, Set dives in on that Ratatasker. That guy looking for Upcoming, not going to find it. Upcoming gets the dash away. A lot of skirmishes so far, but still no actual blood on the battlefield between Wisconsin and UCSB. And a lot of that's due to the strong disengage that a lot of these characters have across the map.
I really, really like what that guy did there. He came up, poked him, and he could have chased down. He could have chased down, looked for a kill, but it's like, no, you're off the farm. I just want the farm. And just let the Ratatasker run away and pick up the farm. I think that's a really, really well done play there. That guy almost in a little bit of trouble there, getting hunted in his own jungle here by the Geb, but nothing to worry about there, I don't think. And I like what Simonides here is doing as well. You're on this Ravana this time around. I mean, we saw a 2-level difference this early in the game last time, and this time it's pretty even.
Chaos by the blue buff. A dive in from Simodine. No more Upcoming. First blood goes to Wisconsin. Might find second blood too if Anxiety Overload cannot get away, but the dash is plenty good to get that Horus out of there. Not going to stop Wisconsin though, because Set just says I want to dive, and I want to dive some more. The knockup and the shield though are enough to help out for the moment, but Geb may be the one caught out now. The stun catches the rollout. Second kill goes the way of Wisconsin. Now here comes a house from Dankshaw, but everybody's splitting. This is buying time through the cosmos in the sky. Where will the landing be? Couldn't find it. There's the blink. There's a 2-man stun coming out from Upcoming. Can you find a pick, though? Spire Rock will sacrifice himself if needed, but it's not even needed. Wisconsin get out. 2 kills. Nothing is returned.
That's the difference between having a Ravon and having a Hebo. You got to see the Ravon turn around, get the root, and allow everybody to live there. And that was absolutely here as Chalkstar is getting ran down, or maybe rolled down by the Geb, dodges it, gets thrown into a tower. Goodbye, Chalkstar. Oh, cue the Billy Hill music, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that looked like the Gilgamesh drop kick there from Geb.
Yeah, it really did. I was just saying the Ravon here, you can tell the difference in play style it's kind of similar, but it's allowing you to play a little bit more aggressive. It's allowing you to stick around playing those team fights. And I really, really like it here from Simon. And I think this contested pick might see a ban in game number 3 if it goes there.
I would agree with that right off the gate. Just if you're going to have to fight over that pick so much. And clearly, it brings so much to either side. You just can't take risk with it. But at the same time, if you're Wisconsin, you have to look at that game 3. But if you're UCSB, it's dangerous to consider stuff like that. And you have to be confident in this game. You have to focus on what's in front of you, and you can't let the frustrations of letting that Robin go get to you. A good way of doing that might be getting a pick, but not gonna find it. Gets stopped from it. Anxiety Overload will go down. That guy gonna take the fight with Upcoming as well. Has 3 levels online, but a dash through from Upcoming to avoid the damage was great. Now through the Cosmos used and goes in with it, finds it, and gets away. I thought for sure that'd be a risky play, but Upcoming made it look so clean, so easy.
What a great play there from both sides. Okay, this is why Set is so good. Set can turn things around, and if you are even like at half health and he has a chance to dash in and just ult and throw down things to skewer, you're probably in a lot of trouble. And we've seen that from that guy 2 games in a row, putting on just really, really good gameplay by Set. But then Upcoming has that ultimate come up and says, cool, I can get a return kill here. Lucky for him, he didn't land on the tower line and eat a tower shot, because I think that could have, ended the career of the rat for any potential more picks. But really good play there. Spyrock spots him out over on the duo side. And I really do like that. And
that guy goes in aggressive with some help from Spyrock. Don't find much. They do drop the Dharmic Pillars for it as well. Pumpkio had to use their own ult to get away. Upcoming pulls the chest, but realizes that guy is lurking, and Pumpkio realizes it too, but realizes it too late. And Pumpkio is gone. Upcoming might be next. Does get a stun onto that guy to get away, and with Geb lurking, they should be all right, but they will lose that purple buff.
this is just a much different Wisconsin team during game number 2 here. And by no means was I suggesting that UCSB should be thinking about game number 3 at all. I was just saying, like, if it goes that route, this Robin has proven to be good for both teams, even if it's the first 10 minutes for Wisconsin here. I don't want anybody to think I'm taking anything away from UCSB. They are still well within it in this game, especially when you see Geb basically knock somebody into a tower for a kill. If I named a top 5 list of the most BM ways to die in Smite, that's probably in there. It's like knocked up into a tower by Geb. But there's many different things there, like a backflip by Neath. That feels really disrespectful. I could keep the list going, but I really do like the Robin play from both teams thus far, and that guy just put on a clinic on the set.
There's a slam from Upcoming, but a nice response from Samadine, but doesn't even matter because Upcoming can just spin to win. Can they find the set as well? They both dash forward, might take 4 of them, can't even catch up to that guy. Gets away in the set with Ganesh lurking as well. We'll see if they want to get crazy. There is a blue buff around the corner. See if they need to defend it, but so far everybody just has walked away from UCSB, so no need to defend that blue buff.
And the one watch here is there hasn't been... Oh my goodness, Fields of Love is used. That's a heart bomb. Can it connect? There's the beads out of Pumpkio. And Venomer might be able to get a 1v1 trade here, the dash away, but it's not Heimdall.
There's the airstrike too. Oh, the airstrike might have been good because now Venomer will walk into Upcoming. There's the blink. The Acorn Blast is off the mark, but everything else will hit. And Upcoming, no respect for the 1v1, drops Venomer.
Yeah, imagine being able to get a 1v1, Not with junglers in the game. They're not having it.
True.
No.
Very true.
I've been in that situation way too many times. Even when I have the 1v1, I'm 1 auto away. My jungler just like blinks in, gets the kill, and they're like, "Oh, look what I did." And I'm like, "Yeah, thanks, bud. Man, I really need your help there." As I was landing that last auto.
Kraken comes out, looks for Dankshaw. Forced into that home sweet home. Dark Pillars as well, but the home sweet home was enough to ensure safety for Dankshaw. So for 2 ultimates, honestly, you'll take that. Set looks for Pumpkio, who just got back to lane, forces Pumpkio back underneath that tower. The only good thing for UCSB from that is they now know where the set is. That forces an ultimate in the mid lane coming out from UCSB. That might take out Wisconsin. They find Shockstar right away. No interest in Spyrock. Wisconsin tried to dive the dual lane in response, but they only will get a purple buff out of the deal. It's not ideal. UCSB not going to contest the Stygian Beacon, though. So that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean, they put a lot of pressure in this dual lane this time around. I think they realized they had a pretty decent advantage there last game that they couldn't really exploit. But yeah, now it's the Geb and Baba battle over Spyrock on the Ganesha.
Just the same thing as game 1, Blaze. It's just, it's fighting, and more fighting. We're 12 minutes, 30 seconds in. It's 4-5. And Stygian Beacon will get dropped by Wisconsin. I thought for sure it was free, but that's why you don't speak in absolutes, I guess. UCSB will be the ones to secure that Stygian Beacon in the face of Wisconsin. And with 13 minutes around the corner, that puts us at about a 1,000 gold lead. Nothing too insane so far. Solo kill potentially lurking for Venomer. Knock-up miss from Pumpkio, but with everybody on the way, they walked over a ward. It's retreat time for Venomer, and he will get out alive.
Yeah, Venomer is winning this 1v1 trade right now. Love to see it as a keep it fan. But that guy picks up a kill over on the solo side. Kraken used here, and 3 SBC could be in trouble.
Lots of chaos again. It does not stop. Shockstar in so much trouble. If Upcoming can find an ability, will use the ultimate, get the knock up, get the kill, turn and find Venomer after Dankshaw found Spyrock. That's enough for Cupid to get out of dodge. UCSB have bigger things in mind. They might be considering the first Gold Fury of this game just before 14 minutes. In the in the solo lane, it was a 2v1 that led to the death there of Anxiety Overload. So that will be a tier 1 tower and no Gold Fury for UCSB. That's interesting. They didn't go for gold there. Gold difference currently sitting at 1,700, just below 1,800, and I gotta be honest, I'm kind of confused why they didn't go for the gold there.
I'm surprised they didn't, but I also don't think they could have. That guy was on the way, and that guy was sprinting towards the Gold Fury. And I think had they pulled it, there was a high probability that it gets stolen away. As that guy now just pulls a Pyromancer on his own, decides that it's not the move with the Geb coming around the corner. But this set is level 15, along with Upcoming on the other side. So you have that guy and Upcoming, both highest levels in the game. And these junglers have both been very active, especially Upcoming now back over in the duo lane, chasing down Venomer.
We'll see how far they want to push this. Venomer has shown a few times now that there's a lot of survivability available for that Cupid, and that will be the case. They'll both back, and it feels like the third or fourth time where UCSB has put interest on that duo lane, and I'm starting to wonder if we're going to see Wisconsin react to it. We saw them get the 2v1 gank off in solo, but I'm starting to wonder if we'll see even more, because clearly it's a focus point. So if you can wait and counter gank, or if you can pull Pyro, or if you can even get crazy and flank from gold with gold in mind and keep Cupid alive, lots of options for Wisconsin when UCSB are making it so clear what they want to do.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing here is kind of, I build Cupid a little weird sometimes, where I do like this 40% Cupid build with like this rushing cooldown, because you can go like Death's Embrace with the Malicious Deathbringer. And I see the crit here, and we already have Fail Not. I'm curious to see if we get a Malicious Deathbringer at some point, because the amount of cooldown you can get off crits, plus the cooldown that's on Fail Not, can kind of go hard. And it allows you to spam hearts, and it can get real interesting real quick in team fights. I'll have to see if that's maybe something that's picked up here. We do already have the early Fail Not to help with that, but it is going to be Wisconsin pulling the Gold Fury here.
Upcoming looks for Chalkstar in the background. Gold Fury gets let go because Wisconsin's taking a lot of damage. Spire Rock, especially the land down from Upcoming, will find the Ganesh. A Kraken was used, but the Kraken did not find much damage. That guy going to find a lot of damage on Pumpkio back by the chest. That means the set can walk back and look for Anxiety Overload. Going to find that one as well. Double kills trade out from the junglers, but now Robin's online, and UCSB is going offline. Dankshaw, last one alive, and should fall down. Just a matter of autos. There it is. Triple kill for that guy. It's Gold Fury time.
7-1-1 for the set here. I'm just saying, that guy is putting on an absolute clinic right now on this set, and has just really shown what it can do. Able to flank into the backline, come back into a fight. That was really, really well done by Wisconsin there to kind of make sure the fight kept going long enough for him to come back to them, and that way they could re-engage that portion of the fight. And they're going to get a Gold Fury, and they're going to get a Pyromancer off this. This is a huge golden XP swing for them.
Massively so, and honestly, if I'm UCSB, we talked to the last game about it's not panic time yet. It's not panic time yet. We said that a couple times. If I'm UCSB, it's kind of panic time. Things are spiraling a lot, and if they spiral too much, I don't think this team comp from Wisconsin is one you can wrangle back as much as we saw happen to UCSB in the previous game.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is you have here, oh my goodness, Venomer. Wow.
You can hardly even see that Fields of Love.
Oh my god, dude. Making sure that everything gets used there. Somebody's also in trouble a little bit. But I think the problem is you have to kill the set if you're UCSB. That's just the way of the road. You have to kill the set. If set's alive, that's a problem for you when you initiate these team fights. So you have to either find a way to take out both carries, or get this set to overstep and then take it out. I mean, it has to be one or the other. That's just my opinion. I don't know if there's another target they should be going on. I really do think they need to be calling where this set is constantly and try to play around it.
Pumpkio in a lot of trouble underneath that tower. One more auto is all that's needed from Venomer, but Aegis forced out because of the tower damage, and now that's giving time for Upcoming to rotate over. Now the minions are working on it too. Venomer are going to dash away and run into Upcoming, but It's a Ganesh for a Ganesh kill. Spyrock runs into Pumpkio. Speaking of not respecting the 1v1.
Yeah. Support comes in. Look, okay, I can't even be mad because if my Ganesha comes in there and gets the kill, like, it's the coveted comp Ganesh kill. You don't ever get those.
I was gonna say it's death taxes and it's collegiate Ganesh kills. It feels like.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta give him that one. You gotta be happy for him. Fun times there. You know, shouts to Ganesha always giving those assists away, but this time gets one for himself. Has to feel good.
Making that Spirit Deso worth it.
Yeah, again, the Spirit Deso second item. Oh my goodness, I should be paying more attention on this Poseidon here for Chalkstar. He built my favorite item when it comes to casting. He built Tablet. You know, and he has 24 stacks on it, which is good because that's more than there are minutes in the game. So, you know, it looks like on pace to get it fully stacked. I appreciate that. I remember early season when everybody built that item. That was my one point of contention is like, we know how many abilities you hit as casters when you buy that item. Like, we just do. So
that's very true.
I always love seeing that item. It's a good talking point, but I don't understand the Spirit Deso. I wish I did.
Well, we understand the Fire Giant. It's already down below half. UCSB trying to make a play around it. There's a dive in from upcoming Dark Pillars to create some separation. But Wisconsin still taking the fight, and UCSB going to take the Fire Giant away. I thought Wisconsin had a shot with all the chaos on the right-hand side, but UCSB make it worth it. That guy going to find upcoming to try to get some revenge for losing that Fire Giant and make sure those belts don't become too much of a problem. The Kraken finds two, but doesn't do massive damage. Spyrock trying to create something. Trying to create anything for Wisconsin to take advantage of, but so far no dice. And now with Home Sweet Home marching forward to the skies, coming out too. Wisconsin better retreat faster than that because UCSB are running it down solo, but they run into good damage. They run into a two-man stun that slows them down, but not for so long. Pumpkio gonna find one. Here they come looking for Samadan as well. The Robin might not be able to get away. Will not. Gets knocked back into a double kill from Pumpkio. That guy returns to the fight, but doesn't get that crazy. Blaze, for a second, I thought he might do it.
I'm not going to lie to you. If that Ravana ult like fully connects, I think that guy just absolutely goes crazy. But luckily for UCSB, they don't have to deal with that. But, I mean, Venomer has been really good to dissuade them here, throwing out lots of hearts for the team. And then you had Chalkstar slowing them down with these pulls. But this is one of those things where you have to start considering, you know, we lost Fire Giant. We didn't secure it. And really and truly, like, I think they could have, and they really probably should have. Now, this allowed UCSB a way back into the game that wasn't there before. Dark Pillars are used here to protect that Tier 2 tower for now. But they're poking down some towers. They're getting some of this gold back. We're talking about a 6.3k gold deficit that no longer stands. Wisconsin, a little bit, has to think a little bit about what they're doing here. Nice Kraken usage. The upcoming cannot go back in after a Beads ult there.
One thing that's very odd to me is it's the second game in a row now where it feels like it hasn't been a steady game. And the second game in a row where pre-25 minutes, currently it's 22 minutes, 13-12. It feels much later. It feels like we're 34 minutes in the way the team fights are shaping up. And now with Oni Fury going the way of Wisconsin, they'll have even more gold in pocket. That's going to jump up to 4,200 and 4,700 now in experience for Wisconsin. As you can see, though, it is drifting down since UCSB had their most recent victory. That puts us at a point where we'll be closer to what could be considered a game, not a full game reset, but kind of a mental reset, I'd say, for UCSB. And Wisconsin lose some of the advantages they've had. Oh, a dive in from through the skies, wow. And Tank Shot finds Chalkstar. You know what? You said it, Blaze. There's the Horus. There's what Horus brings.
Yeah, I mean, that's what you've been wanting from this Horus. And you have the Horus and the Rat. You have these semi-global ultimates. And why they don't flank well. You know they're coming. Sometimes that doesn't matter that you know they're coming. I don't know if they heard gold go down or not. It looks like they're just running the left side to deal with these minions and get the oracles here. But that was a huge play there for Anxiety Overload, who really kind of did a lot of crazy things on the chalk. Hasn't been as disastrous to Wisconsin this game at 0-4-7, but now showing the usefulness of this Horus. Fields of Love's used here to kind of peel off UCSB.
I really liked the Fields of Love there to slow things down after upcoming landed down. trying to make plays happen. They do lose the tier 1, but that could have gone worse. So it's a good usage there from Venomer, who is slowed down after what we thought would be a more impactful start, but the Cupid still offering some problems, some chaos, and the Jingwei currently using those crits to be the difference maker. That guy runs into upcoming, gets some poke, but doesn't overcommit.
Yeah, Jingwei is going to be problematic here just for the crit alone. I mean, you're talking about Demon Blade, you're talking about a Deathbringer that will probably soon be upgraded along with Crit Arrow. It's going to be problematic for you. I mean, you're talking about a lot of pin, a lot of crit, and a lot of movement. So, and now you have anti-heal to go with it. Not sure why. Okay, buys tier 1 Light Blade. I still think you don't sell the recipe yet, but that's just me. I think you keep the recipe just for some, extra AoE damage. Has to feel a little bit good there. Plus, you don't get any gold for selling it. Upgrade your starter first. Is kind of where I'm at. But
I agree.
I like this Eldritch Dagger for 3 SBC there on the Geb. I think that has to feel pretty good.
I would agree, and especially when you combine it with the blink for Geb, it's just constant showing up, constant blinks coming through, and such a tanky Geb at that. I like it. I feel like the cooking we talked about from game 1 has significantly increased for game 2.
Yeah, I mean, like, Dagger recently got buffed, too. I mean, it's given extra cooldowns, and that you're going to have this fortifying sprint, or fortifying shell with Blink up way more often, and that's a dub in any case. But I really do think, UCSB has to be careful here. They have to be worried about the set. The set is 9-1-1, has not died in, 20 minutes. And if you can get the shutdown onto that guy, it's going to open up the fight for you drastically.
Upcoming tried to make it happen, but that guy was able to get away in time. Titans will meet in duo. The Chaos Titan will win that without interference, so that will be pushing down for the short term for UCSB, and Wisconsin will have to react to that. They are pushing up aggressive past Fire Giant, but Chalkstar runs into Upcoming. Without that knockback, may have been in trouble.
I don't think you need to be frontlining as the Poseidon here. I think that's a dangerous game to play with no way out. But it paid off that time, worked out okay. You have the Cupid to heal you up, so nothing too drastic. But now you have Anxiety Overlord looking for a play.
We'll see what the Horus can do. He does step back to the comfort of UCSB. Some poke found upcoming as well from that set. We'll see if that guy can make a play as well. Dark Pillars to separate Anxiety Overload from the team, but it still gets through. There's the crack, and it finds 2, but hasn't erased anyone yet. Upcoming's in the sky, has a lot of options on landing. Will land down and find 3, knocks them all up. UCSB follow up, but they don't find any picks quite yet. The story of that continues. Finally, one drops its Spire Rock to Upcoming. UCSB now with a 1-man advantage, but not amazing health. We'll find another off the back of Dankshaw finding Simodine. Massive for UCSB. Now with a 5v3, they take control of the Fire Giant ring. Will they step up further? Yes, they do. Here they come. Anxiety Overload and Upcoming both go forward. They look for Chalkstar and Venomer. Don't find it. Have to go back. Now they're all low, and that guy's lurking. That's too low to be around a set, Blaze. We'll see what the set can do. UCSB realize it. They step away.
I'm not going to lie. If I'm that guy, I'm licking my chops thinking I got a Penta coming. I mean, those are some low health bars. I don't even think they're safe to back here, and surprised that they did. I mean, that guy had the potential to really just be devastating to everything UCSB did. And there goes a skewer, but it might bit off too much. Here comes the ultimate in, and it will be Pumpkio picking up the kill, getting that shutdown onto that guy. And that's going to open up a lot here for UCSB as far as this Fire Giant goes.
Great response there from Pumpkio and UCSB to be able to make that guy pay. Now Kraken gets dropped for no gain, and Venomer is dropping lower than that. Fields of Love catches the side of Pumpkio, and Chalkstar cleans up the Jingwei. That was a pick that UCSB, not only could they not afford that pick, given these Fire Giant fights, they did not need to give that pick up.
I don't know what's happening anymore. I feel like we just spawned into the Fire Giant portion of Arena from like 4 patches ago, yeah. And that's where we're living now. This is absolutely insane. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Simodines is getting chased down by Anxiety Overlord, Dankshot, the Geb, Upcoming, and more. I mean, you're talking about a Fire Giant fight that's been going on for like, what, 3 minutes now? You might as well wait for it to be enhanced and go back to farming.
Yeah, exactly. We're not. Everybody's hitting level 20 just from fighting and getting assists on the kills. This is out of control.
Just crazy. I mean, there's been a Pyro here the whole time. There's a Gold Fury to go get. Bloodforge has been bought by the Robin. I mean, what more could you ask for? If you wanted some good fights, here you are. I mean, they're long and they are waiting it out. Here comes Upcoming. Has to ult out in defense for the moment being.
We'll see if it gets offensive. Jingwei's on the way back, and Wisconsin step up. There's the land down from Upcoming. It looks for Venomer right away. A follow-in from Geb, but the knock-up just finds two. Geb hasn't got that Cataclysm online, and Wisconsin don't seem to know it. They played around it. Now they go back in. Kraken gets dropped, but Kraken didn't find anybody. UCSB start to retreat back, but that guy goes in and finds Anxiety Overload. We'll see where the set can go next. There's a lot of options because everyone's low, but they're also spread out still. Chalkstar going to clean up one of the spread out members. That member was Geb, and that guy's gone. That guy's still alive, and Chalkstar has a double. UCSB get two spread out, and Wisconsin take advantage. That guy sees Shaw, sees Pumpkio, gets knocked up again. It's a repeat performance of what we saw before. That guy, this time, Blaze won't go in. Pyromancer will go to Wisconsin.
That was the perfect play by Chalkstar. He gets a kill. He steps up, sees them go, oh, hey, there's a Poseidon. We can kill him. He just sidesteps, and you just see Skewer go boop, right into Upcoming and take him off the map. Just a great play by Chalkstar there, and Upcoming just got baited. I mean, we've been seeing it time and time again where Upcoming looks like he's gonna be able to get this damage off and kind of go crazy, and then in this instance it just wasn't allowed. They finally caught him a little bit off guard here. A little bit of a pull of Fire Giant. I don't think this is serious. You want to bait these members that are still here, and that guy just goes in on the Dankshaw, forces it to leap out, and this might actually be a serious pull by Wisconsin at this point, now that it's not being tanked by the Cupid.
After forcing that home sweet home as well, maybe that was a good option, but no, Wisconsin gonna step back, let go of the Fire Giant. UCSB are now all here, minus Upcoming, but that ultimate's online, or the Radtasker can come back at any moment.
I just like that Spyrox is eating free little fireballs over and over and over again, knowing that Cupid's just going to throw heart bombs to heal him up. But now UCSB is here in full force. They have not, panned out well the last fight and a half over this Fire Giant that's now been going on for almost 6 straight minutes. You want to talk about dancing around fire, this is as good as it gets, but Wisconsin looking for a play in, trying to point out, hey, this is who we need to go on, this is who we need to catch out. Chalkstar stepping up, trying to see if he can bait anybody into being out of position, and really and truly, Wisconsin are kind of playing with fire, just the way their positioning's been.
Playing with fire, but still no interest in that fire. We mentioned it. We haven't seen one in a while, not since the one UCSB stole. Now EFG being the thing online, and Stygian Beacon starting to respawn. Lots of options on the map. The Primal Fury has not been touched in about 17 decades, so teams no longer have an interest in that side of the map. UCSB grouped up, and Wisconsin considered the Stygian, but I think they might have been worried that they left the Fire Giant open and they stepped back.
Surprised they just don't send one person over there and see if they can bait them to step forward, and they just fall back. I mean, that guy's pushed up to the tier 2 tower mid, and now the Geb stepped up too far, and it could be devastating for UCSB.
Devastating if they can't get away, but could be a chance if they're opportunists to go back in. Upcoming takes to the sky. The Geb's too low to go in with anybody, but Upcoming gonna land down, not find anyone. UCSB will go back. Anxiety Overload goes in, but had nobody join. It ended up not mattering. Now Anxiety gets a knock up onto that guy, a dash forward from Upcoming that they can't find a kill onto the set. Set's able to get their way, and now Simodine goes in, but almost pays for it. The overhead kick was able to get the Robin out. Still no deaths. UCSB will back up.
Oh, man. I know that Wisconsin was wishing they just had something, anything, to allow them to hit the go button here. Venomer goes over the Stygian Beacon, not knowing that they're all going to go to fire and look to pull it. But I think this is an opportunity. I think they could have taken the Stygian here and waited it out a little bit. But now Fire Giant slightly pulled, and it will be that guy again pushing up the mid lane and really forcing UCSB to respect the push of the set and the capability of just being able to get out as well.
At some point, something's got to give. I mean, the one thing about these Fire Giant dances is, yes, they can go for 10 minutes, but the longer they go, Blaze, the bigger chance that ends the game.
Yeah, I mean, you are literally teeter-tottering and playing this, trapeze line where you're like, hey, guys, we're still here. We're still fighting over the Fire Giant. This is match point. If I'm Wisconsin, I'm kind of worried, as now Anxiety Overload decides to go in. He whiffs, and this could be the time for Wisconsin.
The Kraken pops Anxiety Overload, and the sky is upcoming. The landing here is so important, but it has to be an escape. Now Wisconsin chase down UCSB. They're going to find another in Pumpkio, going to the way of Simodine. They continue to go forward. The two assassins won't stop. Dinkshaw's able to get away. Geb barely as well, and it doesn't stop. It hasn't stopped, but this time, losing those two, that at least might be the fire giant for Wisconsin.
Yeah, they got really lucky there, Wisconsin, as far as Chalkstar not getting caught out there. Hits a great wave to push up coming back and just ruin the initiation, because I think that could have gave us a very different fight to now. Simodine getting gone on and is able to get out for the time being. That guy goes back in, cleans up Dankshaw, and Chalkstar puts down upcoming again, sends him back to the gray screen so he can watch his teammate roll out towards the tier 2 tower.
And the fire giant being down below half with nobody able to contest means Wisconsin will be rocking an EFG at 34 minutes. Feels like 54 minutes into the game, but now with it around their belts, Blaze, they can finally go see what's up with the left side of the map. They've got Stygian Beacon options, Primal Fury options, tower options galore. There's a lot they can get with this.
Yeah, I mean, this is just... There's so many opportunities, you don't know what to take. Because you've been standing at the fire giant for the last 10 minutes. They're going to take a tier 2 tower in mid, and it looks like they want to put pressure on this mid bird as well.
I love this step up from Wisconsin. No time to breathe. No time to stay alive. Double kill for Chalkstar. Here come Wisconsin looking for that Titan. All the things on the map, but they wanted the big one. They're in the throne room, and Geb can just watch and say hello to a game 3. Wisconsin take it.
Wisconsin, I mean, they literally, like I said earlier, they played with fire. They finally got it, and they said, well, we're going to find out if we can just end the game or not. They were fully committed. And you got to just really enjoy that. You have to enjoy the fact that they were so committed to a play that they stayed there and fought it out, and eventually it took them to victory. Great play there by both teams.
Honestly, shocking play, too. I really can't believe the amount of times we saw the advantage at that EFG change back and forth. It felt like there was 3 different moments at least where each team had a chance to win. Ultimately, of course, it did go the way of Wisconsin, which means 1 game left to decide who moves on to the finals here in this semifinal matchup. And going into game 3, let's keep it nice, short, and clean so we can reset before it plays. Who are you looking at that has the significant advantage heading into that game 3?
I mean, I think momentum's key, right? You win game number 2 after you were in game number 1 for quite some time and you couldn't come back. You fell a little bit short. And I think if you're Wisconsin, you're going in with a lot of confidence. You're like, okay, we switched up our draft and we're able to really kind of hold the game most of the time. Like, it was really hard for UCSB to fight back in, but this is UCSB's opportunity to ban away that set, and I think we're looking at a very different team fight and very different game.
I'm on the same page as you. I need a mental reset. I'm sure you do too. I'm sure everybody does. So go grab your water, take your potty break. When we come back, we'll have the conclusion of this semifinal Division 1 matchup here on AGL. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back. Sorry for the long wait. I had to shake myself off, kind of dust myself off, because this has just been full chaos. And it's game 3 time. The winner of this moves on to the Division 1 finals between University of Wisconsin and UCSB. I'm once again Anthony Mallon, joined once again by Blaze McBain with Cabbage taking us through production one final time tonight. Blaze, it has been an insane series tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's been back and forth the whole entire time. It's constant fighting. I feel like as an analyst, I'm sitting here, I'm like, I don't even know what to analyze at some points, because I'm like, I start to analyze something and then fighting just comes through immediately. I'm like, oh, okay, well, let's take a moment and look at this. But no, I've really enjoyed both games. That tablet did get stacked last game, so Tablet of Destinies did reach its maximum capacity. We love to see that on the desk here. But before heading in to game number 3, I do want to remind everybody that the collaboration of Collegiate Smite currently is between AGL and NECC. And if you are interested in playing, there's a AGL Collegiate Discord. Go check it out. You can join there if you're interested in, casting. You're interested in spectating, production. There are plenty of opportunities to be involved. Make sure to go check out the Albion Giants NECC Discord, and join us to have some fun time. There's tournaments, there's spectator opportunities, production opportunities, casting opportunities, competitive opportunities. They're all there. Go check it out. It's a fun time. But as we head into this game number 3, Set's surely going to get banned away, right?
Surely. I think Set has to get banned away, and I think Robin has to be the number 1 priority. You had actually talked about it a bit off air of how much of a priority Robin's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rov has to get banned away here. I think whatever team gets him, it just increases their chances of winning a lot. I mean, we've seen both teams play him very, very well. Obviously, he was played in different roles, but I really think Ravana and Set are the two problems that currently exist between these two teams. And really, I think Set might be more devastating than the Ravana. I mean, we've seen it played well both games, and Wisconsin's going to keep banning away this Camazotz. They do not want to see it. And there is the Set ban immediately by UCSB.
I respect it. I love it. And I'm just glad it's there. Honestly, and this is more of I always talk about it. There's the analyst brain, there's the play-by-play enjoyment brain, and then for me, sometimes there's just the fan experience brain. And for me, that's what I've got. And for me, I'm kind of glad we might get some different looks this time, because both of these teams have so much talent, and it feels like getting some new picks out, getting a new jungler out potentially for that guy, for example. I honestly think this could be a true barn burner of a game just off picks alone, just because everything else, it's one of those games where we're at the ceiling, so we can only just break through at this point, and everything beyond that is just cake.
I just wonder, I'm expecting Wisconsin to ban away Robin here. I mean, I think it's gonna get banned. I don't think you let it through now that the Set's banned away. The Emoji ban, not surprised after game number 1. Was it the best thing we've ever seen? No, but it was impactful. Alpwash and Chernobog makes sense. The last ban for Wisconsin is Mamon. So they are going to let the Ravana through. I believe then UCSB might actually take a look at it, but instead they're hovering Athena. And Athena does a lot of good things, and they lock it in. Fully global ultimate, providing that little bit of movement speed, protections, can be anywhere you need them. I think it's a good pick. And Wisconsin going with the tried and true here, Ganesha. Do they take the Robin as well?
I love that the Athena finally gets picked up. That has been banned out both games, and it's been so fun to watch Athena throughout the collegiate season. In a game like this, with everything on the line, if I'm UCSB, I am so glad I've got that in pocket. But to your point, this has to be a Robin here. Nothing else would make any sense to me, and I'd be pretty bothered if it doesn't get locked in. I just want to put that out there now.
I think you have to lock Robin for the fact of it's flexible. I mean, just for the fact of it goes solo, it could go jungle. It forces some things to not be picked up. Like, for instance, you pick Ravon, then they're not going to lock in Poseidon. And we saw how well Chalkster played on Poseidon, game number 2. So that leaves that open for you. Or it makes it something that they need to be concerned to ban away. So I really, really like it as a pick. I think that's what they should be picking here for Wisconsin. Is that what they go? We'll have to see. but I think that's what you should be looking for. I also am curious about junglers this game, because with Set being gone, it means there's the potential, the possibility of seeing a Tsukuyomi, and they decide to let the Robin go for a Cupid.
I'm not sure how I feel about that. Because I didn't hate the Cupid.
Oh, Cupid was great.
But top pick Cupid over the Robin there?
You know what he does?
Or even like you said, the Tsukuyomi, the Thanatos we saw banned in game 1.
I don't. I think you get the Cupid anyway if you pick the Robin, because guess what Robin does?
True. Yeah.
He ults. He doesn't even have to ult. He just hits his 2 and he immunes the Cupid ult. Like, Fields of Love doesn't matter. You ult. It doesn't matter. I'm really, really surprised here that they didn't pick up the Robin. Wisconsin's probably cooking up something else, and that's completely fine. I just think the Robin looked really, really good for Simedine here. And maybe Simedine didn't want it. Maybe they knew going into this, hey, we give up the Robin. I have a pick that I want into it. I'm just really, really surprised here. And now they have Robin Chalk. I mean, that's a pretty good dive. Oh, boy.
I'm at a point so far in this draft where I can't understand. It feels like there's been 2 Wisconsins in the pick and ban phase. In game, they've been fantastic. I want to make that clear. But their game 2 pick and ban phase was fantastic. But their game 1 was really rough. It kind of felt like they were just picking whatever and reacting to what UCSB picked. And that's what I feel like we're at game 3. It feels like they kind of forgot what worked for them.
I like the Toth. And let me be clear. I don't dislike the Cupid and Ganesh. I like both those picks.
No, it's the order of operations.
Yeah, it's the order. And I just really, PIMDOS is something I teach on a regular basis as a math teacher. And I feel like you follow the order of operations to get you to success. So I'm just a little bit surprised here. Now we're in these phase 2 bans. I think this is where things get interesting, because for UCSB, I think they're banning junglers. I don't think they ban anything else other than junglers. And then on the side of Wisconsin, they're like, hey, they need a mid. We're going to ban away Raijin. And what else do they ban away? They banned away Poseidon here. I'm actually a little bit surprised Poseidon gets banned away.
I don't like giving options to that guy. I feel like you need to control it a lot. Clearly, there's some knowledge of the God Pool. We are seeing some more interesting bans and takeaways in game number 1. So I'm not huge on letting there be too many options there. Again, that empty space for Wisconsin is Maman. So that's why there's no Maman Brigitte just throwing through people in this game 3.
I like the On Her ban here. On Her plays really, really well in the Cupid. I'm expecting that UCSB might look for something like a Rama into that Cupid anyways. So, we'll see how that pans out. I think Rama does generally well. He can go up in the air, avoid the ultimate altogether. I don't necessarily like it, but I think there's some other options. And On Her being the best option into Cupid, I like to see it banned away here. Loki is what's banned away. You know what? That's probably for the best, because if he's doing that on Set, I don't know if I want to see Loki. If I'm UCSB, I would probably be pretty upset. That god is absolutely tilting. But I think this just leaves so many options open. I mean, you have Thor open. Vaughman's being hovered here.
Ooh, awesome.
This draft is going
Vaughman's
so
locked
far
in.
from what we expected.
I have so many questions. It's Vaughman jungle.
Yeah.
I think.
I guess it depends on the... No, yeah, because what else would it be?
I mean, I don't think Vaughman's going to feel good into Chalk. Maybe it's okay, though. I mean, you have the poke for the wave. You can clear the wave pretty easily.
Yeah. This feels like a different team that's drafting.
I am confuzzled.
Minus the Cupid, of course.
Yeah, Cupid Ganesh. Ganesh has been standard all the way through. I appreciate that. I'm curious here. I'm very curious. I don't have anything for this. On the side of UCSB, though,
I don't know.
I think that they have really good AoE. They have good AoE and single target damage. I think you need to think about what can take this Cupid Toth off the map. We see the Agni hover here. Agni can do a great job at that. And a Chiron. I don't dislike it. I do think it could struggle a little bit into the Toth. We'll have to see how that pans out in team fights. But instead, it's going to be a Giannis locked in.
Okay, I like the team comp. I feel like UCSB have a plan within this team comp. They have a way. We talked about the PEMDAS. That's a really common theme throughout Smite and just how things work. And it's clear for UCSB. Their team fights are so obvious to me. And I like that. I'm a little worried about their damage, but more interestingly, and I'll go ahead and just cut myself off because Thanatos is a pick we are not seeing enough of in my mind. And I just love a good Thanatos.
Look, I mentioned it during, I think, Game 2 Picks and Bans, that Thanatos is a god that can really pop off sometimes. I'm looking at this team comp from UCSB, and the one thing they want to do really, really well is dive. They also they have complete dropship here with Giannis Athena. I mean, it can be devastating. It can be annoying. They can get the team out. They can get the team in. I think you pull a Thanatos, and you take one of those picks out with an execute, and things get a lot different with that team fight. And the way that guy's been playing, I think those opportunities are going to be there. My big question mark here is this Vaughman. And that's between both teams. My question mark is the Vaughman. Not to take anything away from Simon as a player, I just think Vaughman is so easily countered in many situations that we're going to have to see how this plays out and what the build looks like. Because Big Baby's cool, but like, I don't know, is he going to have a chance to do much with it? I mean, with the Ganesh and Cupid, maybe. But I really, that's my question mark here. I think it's going to play well into the chalk. I think he'll be safe. My question is during team fights, can he flank in and do something with it before they onk him and kill him?
One thing worth considering, too, and one thing I'll be looking for is, Game 2, the team fights were lasting so long.
Yeah.
UCSB have a team that the longer a fight goes on, the happier they are about it because you're going to have a hard time killing them and they're going to do so much to you. Yeah. I worry, will these team fights happen too fast for Wisconsin to respond? Does USCB get in too quick? Does Thanatos not get everything off in time? They got to be quick with it, and we can head in the game, and we'll finally see what comes of this set. And if UCSB will be too quick, but Blaze, out the gate, we know who we're watching. It's going to be definitely that jungle matchup between Upcoming and that guy. It's been a huge story this entire time. This time with Upcoming having a blink online, but beats for that guy and no movement that we've seen on the set. That might be a small thing, but a significant thing in the grand scheme.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate the going the beads first here. I just wonder if Blink could have allowed you more opportunities before level 12. We'll have to see how that pans out here. I really, really like this idea of Toth poking people down and you just executing them, though. I think Toth is a god that, you know, I don't get to see it too often. I think he's really, really good. He's also a good ADC, but that's something for another time. But he does really, really good damage, and he does it quick. And that might be the benefit of Wisconsin and not letting these team fights go too long. But the other thing to watch out for here is we finally have a match. You know, the sides are switched up here. UCSB is now on the Order side, and Chaos side is now on Wisconsin. So let's see how that pans out here. But Simon's the player I'm really watching here because I think he has the hardest matchup for Wisconsin.
I would agree. It's the hardest matchup. I'm also, just to kind of piggyback, I'm looking, where will this Thanatos go? Because I think for the first few levels, it's going to be a tough time kind of outmaneuvering, out-rotating Upcoming. The first few levels, I don't like that fight. Something I'm already in trouble. Anxiety overload getting the better, but took enough damage there to have to back away. I'm curious if we see the Thanatos put a lot onto anxiety overload, try to keep that chalk from becoming a problem like we saw in Game 1, or will it be like Game 2, where they spend almost too much time in the dual lane.
I just realized that I might be an idiot, and that's okay. I might have just really befuddled myself here. But if Simon now has Warding Sigil, and then gets, I'm assuming this is going to be a Frostbound early. If you go into Big Baby, you're slowing some people down. That might feel pretty good if you can survive. So maybe it's not so bad. Like I said, I think he's okay in lane. My team fight questions are the biggest ones, but if that's a Frostbound early, he might be able to do some things. And I do like that. I also agree on the point of Thanatos. Looks like he's going to gank the duo lane first. That's where he wants to be. And I wonder if that's the best place to gank of everywhere he could go.
Interestingly, that guy tried to body block and took damage, but solo side, duo side, chaos everywhere. Simondine barely gets away. Duo lane, nothing came of it. But the Thanatos tried to body block the Athena and was taking so many autos from the Chiron that they had to abandon the body block. Shield buff will go the way of Wisconsin. Thanatos will make something worth it on that left-hand side, but right-hand side, it was much of the same.
I really think for that that guy, I think the thing is, I think mid and solo actually look a little bit more appetizing than duo this time around, as long as Athena's over there. Because the worst thing that can happen to you is you run up and you're like, oh, I'm just going to scythe them and then hopefully run them down. Oh, I got taunted. And that could be a little bit of a problem. Now that guy's rotating over, trying to help pick up a blue buff that gets stolen away here. But Simondon's still chasing this a little bit, knowing that his jungler is at least around, but his jungler's behind, needs to go get some farm.
Yeah, that guy had no interest.
Yeah, no, that guy was like, yeah, that's cool. You keep running at them. I'm going to go do this red buff because I would like to hit level 4. And I would also like to hit level 5 as soon as possible, which is part of the thing here, is that guy really, really needs to get to level 5 because Thanatos, as soon as that executes online, it just opens up way more opportunities on everything on the side of Wisconsin. But again, I do like this Chiron pick. I think my hope is that Pumpkio gets a reset this game. For those that don't know, if you're, oh my god, Simondine? Maybe?
Oh, should be it. Just needs a little something. But the dash gets it off from Anxiety Overload. No chance for Simondine anymore.
I was gonna say, I really hope that Pumpkio gets the reset. And for those that don't know, when Chiron's in ult, if he dies but kills somebody with the ultimate, he resets and relives. And oh my god, that guy dives in, takes down Pumpkio. And now they're looking for more. The Athena dashes away, wasn't able to taunt away that time. And this could be devastating.
It's going to be a double pickup for Wisconsin. 2 kills, 2 none. 1 goes to Cupid, 1 to the Thanatos. It's exactly what we were wondering. Where's the Thanatos going to go? He goes duo. And you were talking about the Chiron ultimate and Chiron staying alive. Well, that time Chiron didn't have it. So no chance to stay alive from the Thanatos. Maybe a response from UCSB looking for Chalkstar. The turnaround not going to be good. Dinkshaw going to find it through space and time. Almost a fancy play there from Chalkstar to turn it around, but was not able to ultimately.
Simondine, why are we ulting the totem? What we doing? You know, I'm just a little curious here. Getting that totem for his team. Not something you often see. Usually you see people ult trying to make sure they clear the wave, get the farm. Simondine's like, I want that totem. Love to see it. Love to see some, you know, team gold and that kind of thing going the way for Wisconsin there. But it does answer our questions. Where is that guy going to go? And it looks like duo is a place to go and not really worried about the Athena taunts, but now making the way over the solo lane. But upcoming's there too. This is going to be a nice little fight between the junglers.
That guy has to win this for Wisconsin, but they're in a really bad spot. That's going to force the ultimate away from that guy, unable to use it, but he's still lurking. Lands back down upcoming, finds the damage. Chalkstar blows him up with Final Judgment. Anxiety Overload shows back up, gets the return onto that guy, making it a 1-for-1 so far in the fight, but there's 3 members of Wisconsin still hanging out, looking for Anxiety Overload, and there's just no chance if you're just a Chalk to get away from so much hatred. Simondine will find the pick ultimately. Still lurking with Dankshaw, but nothing there to get. Going to be a 1-for-2 there at the blue buff fight.
Yeah, the Athena's here with the taunt. Yeah, I was going to say, wow. I don't think there's anything up to allow. And you know what's crazy? If he didn't see Athena there, that's wild, because he could have just pre-beads the taunt and got away. Unfortunate fall. Just a little bit of a spill there. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, just tough. But that's okay. You know, nothing too bad there. Both teams battling out here. The nice thing is, at 6 minutes, this is the most even we've seen these two teams at this point in the game. In game number 1 to game number 2. Now to game number 3, they've evened it out a bit. Usually we see a pretty decent gold lead in favor of one of them.
Also interesting is the dual lane matchup. Chiron Cupid. We didn't really talk about how they play into each other, but that's like 2 painters using their paintbrushes to lob paint at each other, but the buckets were empty, so there's no paint. That's kind of how
yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, this is a tough matchup on both sides because oh my goodness, that guy dives in and says no, it's not. Just puts him down. Oh my goodness, dude.
That was
Venomer.
That hit one of the hearts on the tip of the arrows that Cupid has.
Oh
that was as close as it can be.
I don't. Yeah, talk about just luck. If I'm Venomer there, I actually eat the ult. I have the Barracuda ability of getting hit by all Giannis ults, no matter where they are.
That's kind of
on the map. Yeah, you know, that's what I think sometimes. I'm like in the jungle, rotating around, get hit by Giannis ult. Love it.
Taunting onto Ganesh. There's a Mystic Rush after the fact, looking for Spire Rock, who just won't die, finally. Goes down to Upcoming. Now, Defender of Olympus for Athena to get back in. That's 4 members on this left-hand side of the map for UCSB, but with purple buff down, they've got to decide if there's anything else to get. They're not going to go for gold in the face of the Cupid, so Athena ults in a 4-person rotation. And just for the picks, Chalkstar is in solo, charging up ultimate, looks for Anxiety Overload. Didn't need to get fancy with it. It would have missed anyway, but does get fancy and does get away. That leaves Chalkstar in an awkward spot, but luckily for Wisconsin, UCSB does not have the spectator view. A taunt does hit. Chalkstar will be okay.
Yeah, Chalkstar playing a little greedy this game, I feel like. Stepping up a lot more, and that could be problematic here. Venomer pushing towards the Tier 1 tower, looking to fight Pumpkio under it. Meanwhile, on the right side of the map, we have 3 members of Wisconsin over here. I'm curious to see if they're looking for anything. It looks like they're just going to back off. Upcoming's in mid lane, chasing down Chalkstar. And really and truly, this has been well played, and a solo kill from Venomer. He now has a lead. I mean, we've talked about this dual lane matchup multiple times, and Wisconsin's really put pressure over here all 3 games. They've known that's one of their win conditions, and this time it's very apparent with a 3-level lead for the Cupid at 8 minutes and 45 seconds.
This time it might be the worst problem it's been, though, for UCSB. 3 deaths so far for the Chiron, unfortunately, but the toughest part, 5 stacks on Transcendence. Upcoming, trying to get something back going for UCSB. Upcoming, gonna look for Venomer, and will fall.
Nope.
Okay.
There it goes.
Cleaned up by the Athena, but damage done by the Thanatos. Just keeps sneaking up with the ultimates through space and time to get the Athena away. But Dig Shots to get away too. Does have a portal online to get out of there just in time. That guy gonna know where that Athena is, it looks like, and try to run down the support. We'll see if UCSB can rotate in time to save the Athena out, or if they will not be able to. Storm Call going to be used. Just responded to with Big Baby. And Thanatos did turn around and give up on that Athena chase.
I mean, the thing for that guy is he got the beads out of Dankshaw there. I don't know if he realized it or not, but that's a big play here. I mean, you're talking about Stygian Beacon coming up in 2 minutes, and those beads are going to be just coming online. Chalkstar rotates over the solo and puts out a ton of damage onto Anxiety. Here comes Athena as well.
Missed.
Oh my goodness.
That would have been a kill for Chalkstar, but it was just barely off the mark. That is tough. That was even closer than the through space and time that went to duo lane earlier.
Yeah, I mean this is crazy. I mean we talked about the fighting in games 1 and 2. This is more fighting than we had those 2 games. I mean, it's everywhere. It's in solo, it's in duo, it's in the jungle. I mean, it's everywhere in this game, and we're only 10 minutes in. And the gold lead for Wisconsin is about 1,600 gold. It's not super crazy at this point. I mean, we've seen 2,000 to 3,000 gold leads in the previous games at this point.
100%. I mean, it's only 10 minutes in, and once again, it feels so late.
Oh my
that
goodness.
guy dives, Dink shot the Tier 1 tower, and cleans him up so easily. It feels. Upcoming tried to get a return in the Chalkstar, but got silenced out by the Ganesh and could not clean it up. That Ganesh just continues to pay dividends for Wisconsin, and now you've got Cupid, who's proxying in duo. This game, it's just full-blown chaos at this point.
Yeah, this for UCSB is a really, really tough place to be, because Wisconsin is now, you have a proxy and duo laner, you have a jungler that is not afraid to dive anywhere on the map, and you have to start looking for ways to play back in that allow you to not get picked at the same time. And that's a tough, tough place to be. Luckily, the gold lead isn't massive yet, but Stygian Beacon's coming up, and sometimes when you get Beacon, you get gold, and that's something UCSB has to be careful of. Frostbound, now online for the Vamana, like I had considered, and we'll have to see how that pans out in a team fight.
I like sending Upcoming towards that left-hand side. You got to give some kind of relief to this Chiron. I mean, still just halfway stacked on Transcendence, and Venomer's just making it too difficult for the Chiron to farm. All it took was just some signs there from Upcoming to back off the Cupid. Can't overplay his hand, though, because now there's a Thanatos lurking. Thanatos going to take to the sky and look to do some damage in the back line. Looks for Pumpkio, finds the landing, feels a love too. The Dharmic Pillars for the body block. Everything gets dropped, and it works out so well. Venomer will get the credit onto Pumpkio, who's gone through space and time used by Dank Shaw to try to help out and get the Giannis there. They might be able to find Spire Rock, but they fall too far back. Wisconsin might be waiting with a lot more than that. They got Shockstar on the way as well. They will find Spire Rock. I think ultimately that was the plan, to get the other two away. If that guy in Venomer can get away, there's a taunt that does hit onto the Cupid. Forces the beads out. Wisconsin will get 2 remaining members out of dodge.
I think if Chalkstar rotates a little bit earlier there, maybe we're talking about a different situation. But that guy is just absolutely picking on Pumpkio. I don't know if Pumpkio said something to him between games or what, but like he is on a rampage after this Chiron. I don't know if he has some beef with Chirons in games past, but the Thanatos play has been absolutely feast with no famine yet. And he's going up defensively this time, and he's just going to get out of dodge.
That guy, anytime the ultimate's down, is a W for UCSB in my book, because that guy has been using it so effectively. It feels like there's nothing they can do as well, because, I mean, yes, Upcoming has kept up with that guy in terms of level, but across the map otherwise, it's been tougher, especially in duo. And that is exactly how Wisconsin's taken the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, the only person that's behind, and I use that loosely, is Samadine. And, you kind of expect that with the Vamana, where it's close enough to call it even. And I think if we get a team fight, I don't know the Chalk's going to be as impactful as Samadine on this Vamana at this point. Anxiety Overload is, the same level and hasn't been able to use the Chalk to its effectiveness, at least as of yet. If he gets a big silence off, though, we could be talking about a nice swing for UCSB here. But we need a team fight to happen.
I think once the big team fights come out, that might be the biggest thing for UCSB. Give that Chiron some time to farm, some time to catch back up. And then once the rotations come out, maybe around that 18-minute mark, 20-minute mark, maybe then the Chiron will be a bit more active. Through space and time was used, and that guy is gone. Trouble for the Thanatos. There's so much action across this map in these games. Sometimes we can't even keep up with it. It's truly out of control.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge for Chalkstar here, because it allows him to shut down the Thanatos. I mean, Thanatos was 4-1-3. Get a nice little bit of shutdown gold, allows him to get him off the map, which is going to be good, because getting him off the map is big. It lets Pumpkio know I'm not under threat in duo, because that's been the concern thus far. We have a short little pause here as we head back into game number 3. But, man, that's what they have to do here, and we've talked about that each and every game. Nice route by Chalkstar here.
Amazing to stay alive through what was essentially a combat pause and not get picked up. That was a close one there for the Thoth, but will stay alive, and that's big for Wisconsin to keep their people alive, keep their leads going. And just really quick before we get too far away from it, another Spear of Deso for Spire Rock. 3 games, 3 Spear of Desolations on the Ganesh. Love to see it. Gold Fury time, and the closest person's Giannis. It's going to be a close call, but I don't think they know. So they're not going to make a play for it. Matter of fact, Thanatos looking for that Giannis, takes to the sky, can't find it, moves back towards left, looks for Upcoming, doesn't find the landing. Now Chiron looks for the steal with Centaurus. Here comes Anxiety Overload. UCSB steal away the Gold Fury. They might take Spire Rock with it. Pumpkio low, has to retreat back out. Anxiety Overload will get 1, but Samadine gets that pick up onto Pumpkio, who was oh so low. Last one standing on the left-hand side, gonna be Venomer. Tries to get away. Right-hand side. Shockstar finds Upcoming. These fights, they've got a theme, and the theme is chaos.
Yeah, I mean, the good news for UCSB there is they pick up the Gold Fury. They stop some of the bleeding here. They put a Band-Aid on it, and that's going to feel good here. Stygian Beacon coming up in the next 2 minutes. That's something you're going to be able to fight over. But Samadine is looking to fight here. Goes in the big baby, and he is poking down Dangshaw. He body blocks the portal, keeps him there for a while. That almost caused the Giannis to fall. And now they get to live healthily here as the Athena goes in and might have stepped out a little bit further than they should have.
So far for me, the big thing keeping UCSB in the game is the Giannis, and plays like that are going to be required, but they've got to find a home. Now Stormcall going to be used, but not really to get aggressive, just to step back. But this Giannis now has become the win condition for UCSB. If they can keep the Giannis alive and avoid situations like that, Dankshaw's doing so much for UCSB. That might be the way they turn it around. Hovering Death can be forced out from that guy, but no risk at dying quite yet.
No, what that guy's doing here when he goes up in these ultimates, he looks and sees, is there a play for his team to make? If there is, I think he calls it, they go in, but he hovers along just long enough to make UCSB consider if they should still keep engaging. As Venomer goes in here, forces out the beads onto Pumpkio, and he has the cooldown. That ult's not going to be down long. Dankshaw makes the rotation over. And like you said, this Giannis is the impact player right now on UCSB. Dankshaw looking for something.
Stygian Beacon up, and Wisconsin were the first ones there. They're making the play for it. But they do have to deal with an Athena. Will not let it go that easy. That's buying some time as well for Giannis to get there, as well as Upcoming. Upcoming going to run into that guy on a Thanatos and get some damage across. That guy will step back, probably going to look to heal and then potentially come back in with a Hovering Death. Meanwhile, Stygian Beacon still being contested, and no one has a clear advantage yet. Finally, the advantage goes to Wisconsin. Finally, the Stygian Beacon goes down. No chance for a further play. Pyromancer might be the next online.
Yeah, as I said, I'm a little bit concerned. Pumpkio had made the rotation over, and Venomer hadn't. And I was like, I don't know if Pumpkio can really relinquish much more farm and feel okay about it. Now at level 13 compared to the 17 of Cupid, 3B SBC steps up a little bit too far here on the Athena. Is going to have to back off. But Anxiety Overlord goes in on the chalk, and this could be huge.
Looks for a Storm Call, doesn't find anything. Through Space and Time was used as well. Anxiety actually used that to reposition to get closer to the Thanatos, but got further away from his team, who are in trouble. Now here comes a Hovering Death. The Execute looks for it, can't find it. Blink away from Anxiety Overload just in time to get away. Wisconsin don't find anything from that, thanks to some slippery play from UCSB.
I mean, it's a big play that blink is now gone. That's one less thing you have to worry about from the chalk. Opens up this Pyromancer for you. I think that has to feel pretty good. Obviously, you'd rather have the kill, but I don't hate it. What I do like there more than anything is that Wisconsin didn't play too aggressive and get caught out. Aegis now off of Pumpkio, but it brought Upcoming in, and now Venomer is going to be in trouble.
Venomer might be gone with the Athena there as well, and Dankshaw, but does find his teammates. Venomer probably just got lucky there. Is able to walk at 4 people and just get away. I mean, that would have been a huge pickup for UCSB. There is a lot of gold on that Cupid right now. They just were not able to find it. Level 18 to level 13 of Pumpkio. But you said it before, Blaze, and I'll bring back attention to it. The longer this game goes, if UCSB can get everyone up to standard, we're seeing them do a lot of damage, and we're seeing them be hard to kill. In game 1, we learned what Anxiety Overload can do. This isn't a walk in the park for Wisconsin.
No, I mean, the goal for Wisconsin, in a lot of ways, is to hopefully have this chalk get low enough that you execute him. Because the longer he gets to just be around and heal up, it's a problem. I mean, he's going to cause problems for your backline. He does a lot of damage. He's going to cause problems for your front line because he has a silence and he's just disruptive. It is something definitely to keep an eye on. He's going to be tankier than Simodyne on this Vamana because look at Vamana's build. You have Frostbound, you have Breastplate of Valor, Shoguns, Kins. It's not as tanky as the chalk, and that's okay. Vamana uses those items really, really well and doesn't have to be super tanky.
That guy took a shot down to a quarter health, but just returns to the Primal Fury to help Wisconsin clean it up. 20 minutes, the Primal Fury goes down. We're 8-11 with the gold lead, almost 5k favoring Wisconsin. Experienced much of the same story. But again, UCSB, if you look at the state of the game and you look back and we use all the information we've learned from game 1 and game 2, then we're 5 minutes away from the real game starting, that is the Fire Giant dances.
10-minute Fire Giant dance, game number 2. And now Simodyne's going in. Oh my, Chalkstar connects from downtown, and the Athena is gone.
Anxiety Overload used Storm Call to just make sure the rest of UCSB didn't suffer a similar fate, but it's not going to stop Wisconsin from going in. Fields of Love used in the back line, a dash forward from Venomer looking for Dankshaw. They're going to find that Giannis and make it no longer a problem. Just 3 members standing for UCSB underneath that tier 2. And Wisconsin look like they're going to try to bait into the jungle to try to find more picks. Shockstar there, Hovering Death comes out. Anxiety Overload stuck into the back line. Goes that guy, but misses the Hovering Death. A massive mistake makes the difference of finding a pick or not there for Wisconsin. I'm surprised that worked out the way it did. That guy has been so on point this game with those hovering deaths. But regardless, Wisconsin head to the Fire Giant. I don't know if UCSB can get there in time.
If that guy lands on the Pumpkio, goodbye Chiron is all I have to say. Wisconsin able to pick up the Fire Giant here.
Scary. That scene was way too close, please.
No.
We'll pay for it too, but I respect the effort.
Oh yeah, 100%. You know, it's 22 minutes. Going for a steal isn't going to end your game. I mean, I guess it could if you deicide, like you're at Phoenix, but like it's fine. Go for the steal. I support it. But holy dude, I mean, this Cupid has been on a rampage this game. 4-1-5, feeling pretty good. The Vamana's been great. 3-0-4. It ticks all the boxes of questions that I had about it. I knew it'd be okay in lane, but was it going to be okay once it got to team fights? And it's panned out pretty well here. They've been able to use it as a distraction and use Spire Rock's way of peeling and really just being more of the tank here to their advantage, which has worked out really, really well.
The biggest thing for me now, if I'm UCSB, is I'm shoveling farm to Pumpkio. You have to get this Chiron online. You have no other choice, because the Chiron will do damage if you can get it. That's one of the best parts about going the build Chiron's going, is eventually there's just guaranteed damage by pressing the 2 key on your keyboard and sending out the masterful shot. But you got to get there. Same thing with Centaurus, and plays like this aren't going to make it easier, or are going to make it easier, excuse me. Left-hand side of the map will be farm for Pumpkio, but right-hand side of the map, Wisconsin forcing fights, keeping UCSB in these fights. That's where the problems lie. That guy forced into the sky early. Does look for a re-engage, like you said earlier, but not going to find it this time.
Yeah, it was a really good play there by UCSB to kind of group up, because that way if he came down, they were just going to absolutely all in on him. And that's been a nice play. This time, Pumpkio is going to be able to get some of this farm back.
Huge.
But, I mean, when you look at it, Vinimer's already level 20. He doesn't have to be over there. Doesn't need the farm necessarily, and can help push these fights over on the solo side of the map. They pick up a tier 2 here. And this is a huge Fire Giant play for him. Power play for Wisconsin. Pretty big.
And they're stepping up and seeing how far they can push it. They're going to look to push it into the Phoenix. Now Pumpkio is going to back. Titans will push out through that duo lane. Dankshot looks for a re-engage, but gets blinked on. Almost found by that guy, but was able to get through the portal. Risky play there from the Giannis, but it worked out. Now Wisconsin will regroup towards that mid lane and look to clean up more towers, making great use of that Fire Giant power play, as they need to. Because we talked about this in game 1. When we hit level 20 once, you have to hit level 20, and then the real game starts. And Wisconsin know that. They've learned that from this series, and they're not trying to let that happen so easy this time.
Yeah, I mean, they are playing with a vengeance here. They are very calculated in this game number 3. We saw a lot of fighting early, and it was constant. It was chaotic. This is a much more controlled process by Wisconsin at this point. They got the Fire Giant. They picked off a few. They get a tower. They keep poking them out, forcing them back. They pick up another tier 2 tower. Now they're over on the Titan side. They're looking at a tier 2 tower over on the duo side. UCSB want to defend this, and I don't know that that's the best idea ever, but I support the idea as long as Chalkshire isn't dashing and rooting you into a bad situation.
That guy went to the sky, but going to be out of range to make any plays happen. Pumpkio was sent to the right lane to continue farming up as is needed. Got to level 17, so was slowly but surely getting some stuff online, but now is forced to come back for the Phoenix defense. Wisconsin gets pulled in by a ton, and good damage does find a way of Spire Rock so far, but now damage finds Pumpkio too much. Chuckstar going to find one to start the fight out for Wisconsin. They have lots of options. They don't have a hovering death. They have no ultimates online. They have to work around that. And matter of fact, UCSB take that to their advantage, and Dakeshaw's going to find a pick on the Spire Rock. Almost finds another, gets away with the portal, has Defender of Olympus too. No killing that Giannis so far. UCSB will actually manage to defend, and honestly, that defense looked pretty great considering the circumstances.
Honestly, Wisconsin's lucky that Dankshot didn't stick around, because that Athena ult crashes down, and I think they might pick up the other 3. Like, I'm just saying, you crash down, hit a taunt, and then boom, unstable vortex, and we might be talking about a much different situation right now. It's a pretty good a pretty good defense considering where they're at the moment. I mean, they're down 14,000 gold. This is a hard place to play from, but it's not insurmountable. They are going to have to play to a T. I mean, it's going to have to be everybody on the same exact page, perfect comms, and, they need to hit level 20. Chiron, level 18, still in a rough spot, upcoming, level 19, so you want Pumpkio upcoming to really farm up a little bit. The good news is your support now is an upgraded starter. That has to feel good. I've been a little bit behind on that. So overall, UCSB does have some things to be happy about, but they have a long way to go to claw their way back into this game, as Fire Giant is up at 27 minutes. Curious to see if Wisconsin just go ahead and pull it and force a fight.
That guy looking for Dank Shot could not find it right away. Now it takes a lot of poke, and through space and time just popped that guy. That's huge for UCSB. Can they get more off of it? Fire Giant's been started up. It's down to a quarter. Upcoming, gonna find Chalkstar all of a sudden. Wisconsin might be falling apart at the seams. They will get the Fire Giant. They've got that going for them. It was not stolen away by the Athena, who was close by. If that Fire Giant had gone the way of UCSB, Blaze, that could have spelled an entirely different game.
Yeah, I mean, if Fire Giant gets stolen there, it is a huge swing for UCSB because they have a ton of towers they can go take. They've gotten the picks. I mean, they would have gotten more shutdown. I mean, it would have been absolutely huge. That guy just stepped up a little bit too far there, got taunted, then just absolutely shotgun blasted by Dankshaw there. And it shows the defense possibilities. Again,
yes,
it's going to be hard. Is it manageable? Yes. But it has to be to a T. And that just showed that it is within their grasp to be able to do. But UCSB going to have to get the farm that they can and then back. They want these players to hit level 20. Pumpkio still looking for a way there on this Chiron. But the waves are just too far forward, and there's no farm on their side of the map.
Only thing up currently is that purple buff, and that's pretty far up too. And with Wisconsin just waiting for the right moment to pounce, you can't send anybody that far up to begin with. Now, one thing going for Wisconsin, we're talking about certainly with this Fire Giant, is it's not around the belt of the Thanatos or the Thoth. It is around the belt of Venomer, who is significantly online, just crit galore, upgraded Executioner, ready to do some damage. So that begs the question, please. Does UCSB try to change anything? Do they try to target out the Cupid? Or do they just keep doing what they're doing? Cupid's got to go.
Obviously, if you get the opportunity of that guy just crashing in and you can just blow him up, you have to take it. You need to be aware of where he is and when he goes up in the air. But this Cupid has to get picked because he's allowing a lot of healing. He's doing a lot of damage. And he just provides so much to the team. In the position of a hunter, and now Anxiety Overlord ults in, but that guy's up in the air, comes crashing down on a Dankshaw, and this could be problematic for UCSB.
You had to keep the Giannis alive, but UCSB could not do it, and they lose Giannis to that guy. Pumpkio gonna fall as well, gets absolutely popped by Chalkstar. That guy gonna find another. It's a double kill, and Wisconsin stands strong. Only 2 remaining. It's throne room time. Dark Pillars comes out, gonna be a 2-man defense on Wisconsin. Can you hold on? Coming will find 1, but won't be able to do more. Wisconsin will take the semifinals and move on to the Division I finals.
What an absolute... I mean, just a great game by Wisconsin. I mean, we saw a lot of back and forth game 1 and game 2. Game 3, they didn't need the Robin, man. They didn't need it. They let it through, and they played it to a T. They did not give much wiggle room there to UCSB in the slightest, and Wisconsin is your going to finals, and it looked pretty impressive, that game number 3.
It really did, Blaze, and let's take a look at the stats here between UCSB and Wisconsin. It was an back and forth, doesn't even begin to describe that set. And it was minute by minute through all 3 games. Game 2, we saw a 10-minute Fire Giant dance that felt like the game ended 3 different times, and honestly, Game 3 was the only one that it felt lopsided at all. And even then, UCSB almost came back. So take me through kind of what you saw through the series and what you see in these stats. Now with Wisconsin heading to the finals, kind of what we can expect to see from them going forward that we may have learned today.
I think we learned that in game number 1, they were learning... They just wanted to throw something up, see how it felt, and then kind of figure out what UCSB was going to do. and how they were going to play. I think that's a risky call, but they obviously proved that, game number 2, now they know what exactly they want to draft. Now they know exactly what they want to play. We see this Keepa Ganesh combo 2 times in a row, and it panned out. I mean, it worked really, really well. If I'm going back and I am whoever the winner is of the other matchup that's going to be played, or it's already been played, but will be casted tomorrow, I'm looking at this VOD and going, who do they play? Oh, wow, they played Ganesha every game. Maybe we don't let them have a comfort pick every single game.
Right.
But that's hard, right? There's so many things to ban right now. So maybe it's something that you take away instead. And I think that's something to watch out for. Simodine looked really good on this Vaughman. Not something we get to say too often with the current meta of Smite. 3-0-7 looked impressive. Sure. But all in all, that guy really helped set up his team. And I think that's something you need to be very careful about and really think about who you're banning away.
Wisconsin does have a very strong combination. They've got the dive of that guy. They've got backline support from Simodine, turning into frontline just chaos. Venomer is a solid ADC, and that showed through consistent damage, but consistent positioning too, and strong laning phases, which allows Wisconsin to breathe across the rest of the map. And then, of course, you can't forget the anchor and Chalkstar, or the Spear of Deso 3 games in a row, Spire Rock, who, like you said, that Ganesh might be worth considering. But for UCSB, of course, credit where it's due, they really did play a fantastic set, just ultimately could not get the better of Wisconsin. And it's tough, but I guess for me, the one thing, and I'm curious for your thoughts too, if I were to look at Wisconsin, and I'm looking back through our VOD review, and I'm considering how we played, oddly enough, I'm not looking much at the game. I'm looking at the pick and ban phase and saying, we've got to tighten that part of our game up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they have to figure that out. I mean, there was a lot of opportunities to really set up some interesting picks for the enemy teams and force certain picks and force certain bans, or types of picks, I guess I should say. And I really think that's something that has to be considered going into the finals. And we'll have to see how that pans out in next week. I mean, I expect maybe they clean that up a little bit. Game number 1 was pretty rough as far as picks and bans. Game 2 was much better. I do think Game 3 ended up working out pretty well, but I do think there was some opportunity to really push some picks or push some bans in the way of UCSB if they drafted slightly differently.
I agree completely, and it's been a fantastic night full of exciting Smite, but that does bring our Friday night to a close. Wisconsin gets the better of UCSB in a 3-game set in semifinals to move to the finals for Division 1. That's going to do it for us tonight on AGL with some collegiate Smite action. My name has been Anthony Malum. I was joined by Blaze McBain, and Cabbage was taking us through production and doing it oh so well, and also did all the wonderful creations you've seen on screen tonight. Thanks to the players, thanks to NECC, AGL, and from us, have a great night. See you next week for finals action.